Well, the rain has stopped. The clouds are starting to part a little bit, and the Reds are hoping that the cloud over their road trip will end today, too. As Fox Sports Ohio brings you Cincinnati Reds baseball, the final of the 6-game road trip, and the final of the 3-game set in the Steel City. It's the Reds against the Buccos. Hi, hello, and welcome to Pittsburgh, everyone. Along with the crafty left-hander Chris Welch and Jim Day will join us momentarily. I'm George Grant. Well, for the 12th time in the last 2 years, the Reds will send a rookie starter to the mound. Not what they expected in the final game of this series, but it's been that kind of a year, Chris.
Well, it has been that kind of a year, and we may see more of this as the year goes on, to a kind of revolving door of new pitchers and new players coming up here. Today, it is 28-year-old right-hander Tim Adleman who will get the ball for the Reds. It'll be his major league debut, a young man that was drafted originally by the Baltimore Orioles. He was released by the Orioles a few years later. He even kept his career alive playing independent ball for a couple of years, and that's where the Reds signed him, out of independent ball, and here he is making a major league start today. That's the kind of story that you really want to root for.
Tim also becomes the 8th rookie to start a game in the last 2 years. He'll face not a rookie, but a guy who's really rejuvenated his career as well. Jeff Locke has reconfigured his mechanics, Chris, and he'll take the mound, the lefty, against the Reds.
Well, he is also a 28-year-old, except he's got some major league experience. In fact, a lot of it against the Reds, as a matter of fact. 12 previous games overall, Locke has seen the Reds. He's a guy that is not overpowering. He's trying to use more of the inside part of the plate and outside part of the plate this year. He's coming off a very good outing in Colorado his last time out, but prior to that, he really struggled a little bit. So we're really not sure what we're going to get with Locke. The Reds desperately need a win here on getaway day.
Speaking of a good outing, Jim Day has a good outing every time he steps to the plate. Coming up next, he'll review which were the high moments of the month of April for the Reds in 2016.
Sports Ohio is brought to you by Chevy. Check out their award-winning lineup only at your Tri-State Chevy dealer. By Cincinnati USA Regional Tourism Network. Stay close to CincinnatiUSA.com. And by Skyline Chili. Feeling good? It's Skyline time. We have reached May 1st. I'm Jim Day, and as we do, typically, we look back on the month, each month, in this case, the month of April, give you the top plays of April. We will start with number 5, the Reds, struggling in the win column, but they have had 2 walk-off victories, and one came on April 6th when Scott Schebler welcomed himself to his new club. Walk-off win, and then Jay Bruce on April 10th got in on the act. Boom, right there down the right field line against these very same Pittsburgh Pirates. Moment number 5. We'll count down 4, 3, 2, and 1. Coming up, George Grant.
Good stuff, JD. We're ready to play baseball here, and from a Red standpoint, they were happy to get the game in yesterday and happy to leave town today and head home, where the Giants will come to town. Johnny Cueto coming to town tomorrow. Let's see if they can pick up a W to end the road trip. Don Long talking to Jay Bruce, and Zach Cozart moseying his way up to the on-deck circle, because here's the starting lineup for Brian Price and the Reds. Cozart in at 361 will lead it off. Billy Hamilton moved up to the number 2 spot today. He had 3 hits yesterday. Joey Votto behind him. Brandon Phillips, Jay Bruce. Eugenio Suarez, who's had some success against Locke, will hit in the number 6 spot. Duval, Barnhart, and Adleman, the pitcher, will bat in the number 9 position. Throwback unis, Chris. You remember these when you used to play. It is the lefty Jeff Locke going to the mound for the Buccos.
If you do remember these uniforms, you remember the We Are Family team,
Yep.
and it was a really good baseball team and big, intimidating guys on it. I'm not so sure this version of the Pittsburgh Pirates really falls into that category, but they're off to a pretty good run themselves, the Pirates are. And Jeff Locke, a left-hander, coming off a really good outing his last time out, Colorado. 6 innings of shutout baseball where he struck out 8.
The lefty delivers a strike on the outside corner. The umpires Will Little behind the plate. Teddy Barrett's at first. Sean Barber at second. And Angel Hernandez is your third base umpire as the Pirates overshift to the left side against Cozart, and this one's banged right at the second baseman. Josh Harrison is behind the second base bag. Now the shift takes one away from Cozart, and there's one away. It's officially a 4-3 putout. Our IGS bringing the energy numbers. Billy Hamilton on this road trip. Chris, he's shown some life. 353 average, 6 for 17.
Well, you got to get him going. He's in the number 2 hole today, Hamilton is, instead of batting in the number 9 slot. So maybe an indication that Brian Price believes that Hamilton has turned into corner.
Boy, he sure turned the corner last night around third, scoring the Reds' lone run on a double by Cozart for the lone run that the Reds had last evening. So Billy's in now at 218. The average bumped up after those 3 hits from 189. A homer and 4 knocked in from Hamilton. This one blooped to the right side. A long run over there is Jaso. He'll run out of room. You see these unis, you talk about the big. I remember Bill Madlock more than anybody else in that uni. You know that? Now that guy could hit.
Oh boy, he had a spot,
man,
middle in the inner third of the plate. If you threw it there, it was guaranteed line drive somewhere. Never missed that spot.
The Mad Dog. 1 ball, 1 strike. Down to third. That's a fair ball. Billy will get at least 2 out of this. Depends where it bounces. And he'll cruise into second with a 2-base hit. Marte will get it in quickly, but Billy Hamilton gets his 4th hit in the last 2 ball games, and the Reds have a runner in scoring position with 1 out.
You know, you can really see the difference in the bat speed from Billy Hamilton when he bats right-handed versus left-handed. He's a little bit more of a slap approach left-handed. Of course, he hasn't learned the left-handed hitting skill nearly as much. Last year, he was actually thinking about dropping hitting left-handed and going right-handed all the way. I think that'd be a mistake, but he does like to get up there and hit from the right side against those southpaw pitchers.
So with the shifting, it becomes more difficult for the Pirates with Hamilton at second. They can't pull the third baseman, Rodriguez, far from the bag because of Billy's chance to steal third with a lefty on the mound. And here's Votto. Joey in his career 7 for 24, 292 against Locke. At one point, the average had dipped down to 170, and after an 0 for 19 scheme for Votto, since then he's hit 360 and he's got it back up to 229. Still not where you expect him.
Interesting configuration in the outfield against Joey Votto. The left fielder playing really snug through the line, giving Votto a lot of the left center field alley.
1 strike to Votto. They set up inside again, and there's a strike inside again. Chris Stewart's the catcher today. They'll give Francisco Cervelli the day off. Cervelli has been outstanding in calling games for this pitching staff thus far. Stewart, good catch and throw guy. Jordy Mercer, the shortstop, right behind Hamilton, almost standing on the bag. There goes Billy. The throw down to third will not be in time. Even with our left-handed batter up, and even with the third baseman so close to the bag, Hamilton still picks his pocket.
It's just really hard for a left-handed pitcher to hold Billy Hamilton on. You've got to make him stop. Even on a pitch that goes outside like that, you're right, George. You know, you might as well not create a hole in your defense and have that third baseman cover the bag, because the base hit would score him, because he's going to get the third one way or another.
Stolen base number 5 for Billy.
Oh, they call it a foul ball and tipped right into the glove. No argument from Votto.
So Locke gets a gift, and Votto's retired. It'll go as out number 2, strikeout number 1. That'll bring Brandon to the plate.
Votto thought, or Locke thought it was a strike, I think, on the call, and it wasn't until just a moment later. So Chris Stewart is asking for some help down there, and the home plate umpire decides, nope, I'll call that one myself.
Let's see if Brandon can pick him up. He's in at 288, a homer, 7 knocked in. Against Locke in his career, 6 for 26. They'll play him straight away in the infield. Change up way out in front for strike 1. Three times an All-Star, 4 times a Gold Glove winner is Brandon Phillips. Now sitting on 1,493 career hits as a major leaguer. And as a Red, he continues to climb the big list. The hit list for the Reds, the doubles list, the home run list. Overall number 13 with 181 career home runs is Brandon Phillips, and always brilliant defensively. He came up with another showstopper last night. That behind the back flip that he's done 3 times spectacularly. And he did it again last evening. Billy hoping for something in the dirt. He'll be off and running. This one hit pretty good left center field, but who's closing on it? McCutchen is. He's got it. So the Reds get a double from Hamilton. He steals third, but he gets left stranded. It's debut time for Tim Adleman next. Through here at PNC Park as Tim Adleman takes the mound. Let's check the starting lineup for the 6th-year manager, former manager of the year in the National League of the Pirates, Clint Hurdle. John Jaso, who homered in his debut at bat yesterday, will lead it off. McCutchen bat second. Josh Harrison moved up to the number 3 spot. He takes a 9-game hitting streak in. Starling Marte, hit again by 2 pitches last night, is back at the number 4 spot. Polanco, Sean Rodriguez gets the start at 3rd. Jordy Mercer, Chris Stewart, and Jeff Locke. That's 1 through 9. And here is the 28-year-old making his debut, Chris.
Well, it'll be a day of first for Tim Adleman. Congratulations to him for making it to the major leagues and getting a first start. And they'll take that ball and throw it right out and for some memorabilia. Those are his numbers that he collected at Louisville this year. 3 starts, a 2-0 record.
Given number 68, he actually, the Reds waited until about 3 hours before game time before officially activating him today, because there was a threat of rain. They didn't want to activate him and then have the game washed out, and they didn't know whether they need him or not. He takes the place of Raisel Iglesias, who was placed on the disabled list with the old impingement in the shoulder. Chris, we've had that described a number of times. Here's a delivery to Jaso, hit in the air to left field. Duvall is there, got it, 1 away. Here is your 4 defensive alignment for the Reds, with Duvall in left, Hamilton in right, and Jay Bruce in center, Jay Bruce in right. Suarez, Cozart, Phillips, Votto across the infield, and Barnhart again behind the plate for Adleman. Impingement in the shoulder, what does that translate to, Chris?
Sore arm. I don't really know what that means anymore, George. It means when you move your arm, it hurts. And like Brian Price said, you know, they don't really know what it is, the extent of the injury. They have ruled out surgery, thank goodness. But, you know, as he's not up here pitching, he's not helping the ball club. So let's hope that he gets better in a hurry. The Reds have been just beset big time, especially in their pitching core with all the injuries that they've tried to maintain.
Here's McCutchen at 226, 5 homers and 10 knocked in. Reds over shift towards the left side against him. And ahead 0-2 is Adleman.
I sure like the way he's going right after these hitters. He went 0-2 to the first hitter, John Jaso. He's gone 0-2 now to McCutchen. A lot of good things will happen if he continues that.
0-2. Of the veteran, when you say veteran, in other words, 25, 26, 27, 28-year-old minor leaguers that have come up in the last couple of years, he may have one of the best fastballs of that group, huh?
Well, he can touch up to around 95, 96 years or 96 miles an hour. But of course, it's not anywhere near velocity anymore. I mean, there are so many pitchers that throw 95 and 96 that's hitting speed if you throw it in the wrong spot. He had a brilliant college career at Georgetown, where he left as the all-time career leader in strikeouts. The Orioles picked him in the 24th round of the 2010 draft, and they kept him for a couple of years. He played down in their A ball for a couple of years, and then they released him in 2012. So here he is in the spring of 2012, wondering what to do. Is he going to quit? He's 24 years old at that time. He hooks on with an independent league team, El Paso in the American Association. And then later that year he played in Lincoln in the same league. And independent ball is where you go when no affiliated team like the Reds minor league team wants you. You're playing professional baseball. You're not making any money. You're being housed in probably in a family's extra bedroom somewhere. And it's the last grasp of trying to keep a dream alive.
Strikeout number 1 for Adleman.
And what a pretty good one to have right there. He put that on right on top of his mantle. Andrew McCutcheon, strikeout number 1.
2 away, and here's Josh Harrison with a 9-game hitting streak coming to the plate.
So in his second year of playing independent ball, he was playing in New Jersey in the Canadian American League, and that's where the Red Scouts saw him pitch out of the bullpen. He had a very good year. They grabbed him there. They signed him to a contract for 2014, and he's worked his way through the farm system ever since.
He did not pitch for Louisville against Indianapolis yet this year. Indianapolis is the AAA farm club of the Pittsburgh Pirates, so there was no scouting report to come from Dean Traynor and the Indianapolis manager. So they're seeing the breaking ball, they're seeing the fastball, they're seeing the changeup for the first time are the Pirates. In the air to center field, Hamilton has it measured. Billy squeezes it. Nice start for Tim Adleman. 1, 2, 3. Bruce Suarez Duval due up. Back in Pittsburgh, let's check the Ford defensive alignment for Clint Hurdle and the Buccos. Marte, McCutcheon, Polanco, great speed, great arms in the outfield. Rodriguez gets the start at third. Freeze will sit today. Mercer, Harrison, the double play combo. Jaso back at first. And Chris Stewart gets the start behind the plate. There's Jeff Locke facing Jay Bruce. Bruce in his career 6 for 26, 231 against Locke. Jay steps in with 4 homers, 15 knocked in. And for his career, sitting on 212 career home runs as a Red. Fly ball deep down the left field line, but it'll curve and be out of play. Jay is number 7 on the all-time Reds list at 212. That is 32 behind number 15, George Foster, sitting at the number 6 spot. Talk about bat speed. Boy, did Foster have it. I mean, George just he used a smaller bat, but boy, it looked like a whip, didn't it?
He was scary.
Yep. Brand new piece of lumber after Bruce breaks it. JB, of course, at the top of the Reds list of round trippers at 389. Frank Robinson at 324. And of course, Robinson wound up with over 500 for his career after moving to Baltimore. And there's Foster, followed by Jay Bruce. Second strikeout for Locke. 1 away here in the second, and here's Eugenio Suarez.
Locke looks like he has pretty good command of that slider, and that's always kind of a do or die pitch for him. He's a left-handed pitcher that through the course of his young career, he's always pitched kind of in reverse, meaning he pitches to that third base side of home plate, inside to a lot of right-handers. They're trying to get him to use more of the outside corner. That slider to left-handers, though, when he puts it in that spot, not much you can do to it.
Locke was originally signed by Atlanta, came over to Pittsburgh while he was still in the minor leagues in 2009, along with Charlie Morton, in the deal that sent Nate McLouth there. Last year had a career high year in innings pitched and strikeouts and in starts, so he showed durability last year. They tweaked his mechanics a little bit in the offseason and through spring training.
Just trying to simplify those mechanics more. He was a little bit of a Louis Tion twister and the big twist of his upper body, and they thought maybe that led to a little bit of his control problems.
Dribble down to short. Mercer has it. 2 away.
Last year is on the left for Jeff Locke, and you're going to see him really turn a little bit more, you know, not quite as much as Johnny Cueto, but pretty much in the same boat. And then on the right is a more simplified version that they tried to get him to adopt. It was more of a mental approach for him because he didn't want to get rid of something that got him to the major leagues. I think he's a believer now that a simplified motion can save you some energy, and it also can improve your consistency around the zone.
Last year we saw him quite a bit in his career. He's 3-3 with an ERA of 3.14 against the Reds. Here's Duvall at 226 down the right field line, foul and out of play. Last year against the Reds, he lost a 7-1 decision to Michael Lorenzen. It was like he and Lorenzen, every time the Reds would meet, they'd match up. And then that was in May at PNC Park. Then he won a 5-4 decision over Michael in July at Great American Ballpark, and then lost a 3-1 decision to guess who? Lorenzen in September. So the three of them, the 3 times he matched up with the Reds, all against Michael Lorenzen. And we're hopeful, of course, that the Reds get Michael back sometime this year. He's still recovering from that bout of mononucleosis, trying to get his weight back and his strength back. It'll be a nice addition, Chris, when he does get back.
Well, he's got a $1 million arm, and we certainly hope that he gets back and gets healthy quickly.
$1 million arm and $1 million work ethic too. You know that he's going to work hard to get back. Boy, what he did in the offseason, that's what kills you. He worked so hard to be prepared this spring. A little bit of tightness in the elbow to start with, and then the mono to go along with it. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Down and in, missing. Duvall has a couple of homers and 5 knocked in. Off the end of the bat, but still hit pretty good. Warning track against the wall. McCutchen got it. Adam Duvall gave it a pretty good run. Nothing to show for it. Go to the bottom of 2. Marte leads it off. Cincinnati Reds baseball live with the MLB.com at-bat app. Stay up to the moment at any moment with game day, live game video, highlights, StatCast, news, and more. Download MLB.com at-bat, the #1 app for live baseball on your phone and your tablet. You got that, Jesse? You watching the Reds even when you're not here? But we're glad you're here today. Jesse Jackson made the trip from Cincinnati. Thank God for buses, huh, Chris?
Buses and boats.
That's it. Which we have in one of the 3 rivers around downtown Pittsburgh, the confluence. We'll send Jesse back up the Ohio to Cincinnati after this one's over. They had the marathon here in Pittsburgh today. About 4,500 runners. High in the air, right center, against the wall. Billy got it. Hit a long way by Marte, but Hamilton had it measured the whole way. 1 away.
Now, the one thing Tim Adleman will have to get used to is improved defense behind him, because it improves dramatically when you get a center fielder like Billy Hamilton out in center field. He leaps for this ball. He was still a few feet in front of the wall. This is a big ballpark, and it looks like it's playing big today.
There's Polanco, 302, couple of homers and 14 knocked in. Reds have handled him pretty well hitless in the last 2 games, and that was after he had a 7-game hitting streak on the road trip. Pirates hit a ton on this road trip to Arizona and Colorado. In fact, by the time the month ended, they had 15 wins. That's second all-time for the Pirates in the month of April. They scored 128 runs. That's second all-time in Pirate history. That's all-time in Pirate history. So offensively, they're clicking on just about all cylinders. Look at this lineup. Jaso 316, Harrison 333, Marte 323, Polanco 302, Rodriguez 333. It goes on. Jordy Mercer 318. On and on. They had a big April, didn't they?
Well, they had a big April from a batting standpoint, but they also had a big April from a number of walks that they've received too. Something that this team did not do very much of at all last year and the year before.
2-2. Rocket shot towards the alley. Billy will get there. Polanco will hold. Now he'll try for second. Here comes the throw. He's a dead duck. Perfect execution by the Reds, and it's Polanco's fault. He slowed up going down to second. He's wanting them to challenge it, and Dave Joss has gone to the phone in the Pirates dugout. Clint Hurdle waiting, and now Hurdle will head back down. Here's another look.
I'm not sure what he was thinking about right here. He was coming out of the box hard. Billy Hamilton comes over, and Hamilton has got a great arm. And I don't know whether he just tried to decoy Hamilton a little bit. We'll take another look as Polanco comes around first base.
He slowed up right here and then starts going hard again. If he had gone hard all the way, he would have had it. Great job of slapping the tag by Cozart.
And a great job of getting ahead of the hitters by Adleman. He is pumping first strikes to everybody.
Well, thanks to Hamilton in this inning, one catch against the wall in right center, and then turning a possible double into an out, and there's two away and nobody on.
And an 0-2 count. Boy, is this a refreshing sight to see.
Get ahead, huh? Down the line and foul into the right field seats. What did Pete Rose always say? You get your doubles in your first 3 steps out of the batter's box. Polanco would have had a double had he busted it out of the box. Fouled off, but held on to. Rodriguez retired. Pretty good 2 innings, huh, Chris? Couple of days, sunshine here at PNC Park. Another good crowd on hand. 34,000 yesterday's ball game, and on Friday night 29,000. Tucker Barnhart leads it off, followed by Adleman and then Zach Cozart. Now the story of Tucker's career, solid all the way through the minor leagues for the Reds after being drafted in 2009. And Chris, you say it so often, this is a game of opportunity. In 2014 he made the opening day roster because Devin Mesoraco was on the disabled list, and he proved he could catch. Bounce it down to short. Mercer has it. Last year with Mesoraco hurt, he caught a lot, and now he's pretty much established himself as a fine up and coming backstop.
Well, he's getting probably more playing time than he thought he would, but that's okay with him. I mean, everybody who doesn't play much wants to play more. Pitchers like throwing to him. He executes a game plan very well. He's a really wonderful young man. And I can tell you one thing, he teaches the art of catching as well as anybody. We've had him over at Champions Baseball Academy a couple of times to run some catching clinics, and he was just outstanding.
Well, here it is, first major league at bat for Tim Adleman. There's a strike, 1 ball, 1 strike. Adleman, now 28 years of age, out of Georgetown, now lives in Connecticut. Waves at that for a strike, 1 and 2. Dribbler to the right side. Locke will cover, and did he get the bag? No, he's safe.
Can someone explain to me?
Wow.
Did Tim Adleman get coached before the game and said, you are not allowed to run hard to first base? I mean, if he runs this out, there's no question about it at all. But even though he was jogging down the line, they still missed first base. Look at him.
Locke steps at it twice, misses the bag, so he'll be safe. So Adleman's on.
Is that a base hit?
They're going to charge an error, I think, to the first baseman, Jaso. I mean, it's Locke's fault too. Locke is not even looking for the bag. He kind of lollygagged it over there too.
Maybe Freddie Benavides will lean over and lean into Tim Adleman's ear and say, you know, you never know how many major league at bats you're going to get. You might as well take advantage of each and every one and bust it.
So 1 out, 1 on, and here's Cozart, who bounced out first time up. Down to third, tricky hop. They'll get one at second, on to first. They'll turn a pair. Reds get a base runner on the error, but the 5-4-3 ends the Reds' threat. To the bottom of 3 we go. Mercer leads it off.
Count down the top moments of April. Number 4. Let's take you back to St. Louis, April 16th, where the Reds were twin bagging it all day long. 9 doubles tied a club record. Cozart had 2, Phillips had 2, Suarez, Votto, Mesoraco, Hamilton, Holt, all with doubles on that day. And it was a 9-8 victory over the Cardinals. A rare road victory so far this season. Moments number 4. Top 3 coming up.
Road win number 2 be nice today, huh, JD?
We'll certainly take that.
You saw him toss that first strikeout ball from McCutchen down to the dugout. Were they doing some strange things to it, or you think he's going to get a genuine ball?
Oh, I think he'll get the genuine ball. They always do all kinds of tricks, and who knows what they'll do to Tim Adleman, but he'll get the exact ball, no question.
There's Jordy Mercer to lead it off as we go to the bottom of 3. Stewart and Locke will follow. Mercer's been on base 12 straight games, steps in at 318. That's a strike.
I haven't seen Tim Adleman pitch very much, but he seems to be one of those pitchers. It's kind of a new generation of pitcher that has kind of combined the stretch position and the full windup into one. Pitches really out of the stretch even with nobody on base. Now he's done a lot of relieving in his time. But he's got a little bit of a hitch or a hesitation. Just as he brings his glove up and ready to break his hands, he kind of has a little extra movement with that glove. And that may be a nice little feature in his delivery to get the batter off timing a little bit. Take another look at what I'm talking about. Just watch his hands right in here. That's really what we're talking about, is a move and then a little click or a hitch, and then he comes to the plate.
Hopped up right side. Votto in the coach's box. He's got it. Mercer's retired, 1 away.
Boy, strike throwing machine. You just got to love it.
What you like too, Chris, I mean, he's a little funky. That motion starts that way, and then he gives you a little bit of the glove, a little bit of the shoulder, a little bit of the arm before you ever see the baseball.
He kind of does with his hand what Anthony DeSclafani does with his hip. DeSclafani kind of lifts his leg up and then cocks his hip, and I think that has a little tendency to get hitters off the fastball or off timing just a little bit. I mean, it's just a matter of trying to interrupt the hitter's timing, what pitching is really all about.
Strike 1, pitch way high, 1-1. By the way, they've changed and given the error to the pitcher on that play at first base. So the error charged to Locke for missing the bag, not Jaso for the throw. Pirates have played pretty solid defense through this first month, unlike the Reds, who have struggled defensively. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Chris Stewart. And there is strikeout number 3 for Tim Adleman.
That's a good looking curveball right there. Really good looking curveball.
Here comes a pitcher, Jeff Locke. Locke in at 200 on the season, takes a strike. One hit for the Pirates so far, a single to right center by Polanco with one out in the second. But Billy Hamilton threw him out trying to stretch it into a double. The only base runner the Buccos have had. The Reds had a double from Hamilton in the first. That's their lone base runner with an offensive effort. They did have Adleman reach on the error in the third. Final game of the series. Reds head home after today. Tomorrow it'll be Brandon Finnegan against Johnny Cueto. To Hopper down to third. Suarez has it. That'll do it. Not bad. 3 sound, solid innings for Tim Adleman. Here comes Billy Hamilton when we return. And for Elk and Elk Storylines, brought to you by Elk and Elk, serious lawyers for serious injuries. You know, we've talked about it a lot in recent years, the AL versus the NL. In the month of April, talk about resurgence. The National League out-hit the American League 253 to 245. The last season when the National League outscored the American League was 1974. And that's been the story of interleague baseball and the story of those numbers really ever since the DH, huh? Here's Billy. In the air to left. Marte there. He's got it. And Hamilton's retired. Billy doubled to left first time up. That fly ball retires him, so one away in the fourth. There was a lot of discussion, Chris, prior to the configuration of these new negotiations about possibly making a final decision about the designated hitter rule, and there's been a lot of pressure to institute the DH in both leagues. I mean, I'm new school in some respects, but I'm old school in that respect. I'd never want to see the DH in the National League.
I'd hate to see it change too, George.
And I don't know it's going to become a major issue this time around. There's so many financial issues and serious issues that the two sides are dealing with that this one I think will get pushed to the back burner again. In fact, this weekend Major League Baseball came in with officials from Washington to talk about the Pirates trip scheduled for Puerto Rico, and Votto's called out for the second time, his second strikeout. He didn't like the call on the inside corner. So,
well, every time you look up, there's another team pitching Joey Votto on the inner part of the plate, and the only time that they don't pitch him there is when the pitcher misses his spot. I think he's seen 6 pitches now against Jeff Locke. He's got 2 strikeouts. Maybe he doesn't like that inside part of the plate called by Will Little, or maybe Locke was just threading the needle with that.
2 away, 2 strikeouts for Locke, both to Votto. And here comes Brandon Phillips, fly to center first time up. They play him straight away. Back to the visit by health officials. The Pirates are scheduled to go to Puerto Rico and play a game down there, and many of the Pirate players have expressed concern over the Zika mosquito virus, and they were briefed on the latest numbers and the scenario surrounding their trip. And at one point the Pirates had planned on a festive trip to Puerto Rico, and of course they were going to celebrate Roberto Clemente and his heritage down there. He's so adored down there, and now it's becoming more and more to look like just the bare bones group of Pirate players and immediate baseball officials will head down there. But it's a concern, certainly, on the basis of the fact, Chris, they don't know that much about this virus.
Well, George, you spent a lot of time down in Puerto Rico in the wintertime. Did you have any thoughts about that while you were down there?
Well, we weren't as concerned for ourselves, and where we are, it's, you know, they spray a lot, and we had no mosquito issues. But I would not take, you know, if one of our daughter or daughter-in-law were to be pregnant to go down there, there's no way I'd bring them down there. You just can't take a chance like that. Hit hard down to second. Josh Harrison has it, and it's 1-2-3. Locke has an easy 1-2-3. Back to the top of the order as we go to the fourth. Jaso leads it off. Baseball on Fox Sports Ohio is being brought to you today by your local Ford dealer. Ford, go further. and by Cincinnati Children's, ranking 3rd in the country on United States News Best Children's Hospital. Well, we're blessed in Cincinnati to have Cincinnati Children's Hospital. It does so much wonderful work in the community and throughout the Midwest, for that matter. Same story here in Pittsburgh, where some of the Pirate players showed up yesterday at the Children's Hospital here. And I know back home in Connecticut, Yale New Haven Hospital, their Yale New Haven Children's Hospital, very much like Cincinnati, one of the top-rated children's hospitals in the world. A lot to be proud of. That's the one thing, Chris, I think that's probably changed more than anything. When you started playing, not many people on a ball club went out in the community in a concerted effort, but now players almost every week when they're home make an effort to touch the community in different ways, and that's a good part of change in baseball.
Well, the ball clubs are much more in touch now than they used to be. I mean, look no further than the Reds Community Foundation and what they have done in the community, not just around youth baseball, but around all sorts of things to help the community in Reds country.
Bob Castellini, Phil Castellini, Karen Forgas, Charlie Frank with the foundation. I mean, the Reds have improved as an organization in so many ways, but more importantly, what they've done in the community is just remarkable.
What they've been able to do is to engage people in the community that have the wherewithal to give back and really make a difference. And they've asked these people, you know, for some, you know, contributions, for some help, whether it's influence or whether it's dollars. And they've been able to refurnish fields and get kids equipment who wouldn't normally be able to play baseball. I think it's just a wonderful way to give back to the community, and a lot of the players have gotten involved in it. So every time you see a grand opening or a ribbon cutting, there's a Reds player, usually an all-star there.
Phillips smothers it, and there's an all-star play. Brandon Phillips, a dandy. He robs Jaso of a hit with another outstanding play last night. It was a flashy behind the back flip. This is just vintage Brandon Phillips smothering this ball through the middle.
Guy comes to play every day. I mean, there's just no way about it. We've talked about all the highlight films, and this wouldn't make one of those, but you see that play by Brandon Phillips, you know, 2-3 times a week if you're watching the Reds closely.
And you talk about it as the leadoff hitter. That's a single. Runner on first, McCutchen coming to the plate. A whole different story of an inning when you make a play like that to start things off. By the way, I did talk to him after the game yesterday, and he said he's open to having his mom and dad add up his best plays and get their view of it. So maybe next time they come to town, they'll do it for us. Here's McCutchen, struck out first time up. Nothing new for Andrew McCutchen, huh? 226 in the month of April. He usually starts off slowly. Last year under 200, and 3 times in the last 6 years he started the season hitting in the low 200s.
Well, I wonder if that has something to do with the weather. I mean, after all, Andrew McCutchen is from Fort Meade, Florida, which is just about in the center of the state, not too far from Bartow. And it's a very hot part of the state of Florida, especially in the summertime. He comes up here in, you know, the Midwest and the Mideast in April, and those temperatures can get mighty cold. I don't know how any hitter really wants to hit in the month of April.
April always a slow start for number 22, but boy, he turns it around in the month of May, doesn't he?
Well, this year he's batting .330, or last year .330 in the month of May.
And almost every year.
Yeah,
it's impressive. So the wake-up call comes. Remember a year ago, everybody was saying, what's wrong with him? Is it the knee? Is it the abdominal muscle? And there were some tweaks last year that started early, but come May or June, he's got it turned on. Full count, 3-2. And there's ball 4. So McCutchen will march down to first. That's the first walk allowed by Tim Adleman. Hey, just a reminder, as you enjoy a cold one, to look forward to Miller Time later in today's game, brought to you by Miller Lite. McCutchen has stolen one, but been caught twice this year. In fact, if you look at McCutchen's numbers, last year he hit .330, 2014 .310, 2013 324, 2012 360 in the month of May. So it's been a bounce back month for him almost every year of his career. A little bigger lead than normal for McCutchen as Harrison comes to the plate. Josh flied to center first time up, fouled off for strike one.
Strike one, strike one, strike one. I mean, it seems like it's getting monotonous out there for Tim Adleman. He has thrown 11 first pitch strikes
out of 11 batters. Out of 12.
12.
Strong starts by Reds pitchers have been few and far between. Robert Stevenson, the only one to pitch 7 innings for the Reds so far this year. They could sure use a shot in the arm today. McCutchen obviously has never seen Adleman's move, so he almost baited him into showing that move as he took an extra step of that lead.
It was a big lead because he had to dive to get back. I don't really think McCutchen's much of a stolen base threat here. I mean, McCutchen doesn't know really yet whether Adleman's going to mix in a slide step or whether he has a modified slide step.
Runner not going. Pitch fouled off to the right side. 1-2.
And over the last few years, with the tweaks that you were talking about with Andrew McCutchen, his stolen base attempts have gone way down. He's still a very good base runner, and he's brilliantly fast from first to third. But he just doesn't include that stolen base as much as part of the game anymore as he used to.
His biggest lead so far as he inches off first.
Sure is.
There's the 1-2. And time called by Harrison.
You know, you walk that fine line as a right-handed pitcher as to how long to hold the ball till you get the runner out of his timing, but before the batter finally asks for timeout.
Big lead now. Not going. He got him. Great spot for strikeout number 4 for Tim Adleman.
He has struck out one batter in every inning so far. He just runs a little four-seam fastball away from Harrison right there, and he was quite ahead of Harrison. Harrison late on that pitch. I'll tell you, he's keeping it very simple, and he's doing a great job.
Here comes Starling Marte. Robbed of extra bases on a nice play by Hamilton against the right center field wall first time up. Strike one. What did Tom Browning tell all the minor league pitchers that day he gave his presentation to the spring training? The most important pitch is strike one, right? No matter what you throw.
You got to get ahead of the hitter.
Could be 84 or 94 or 104. Bluff going is McCutchen. And McCutchen continues to do some gardening down at first. Now, remember, we had all-day rain yesterday. They covered the field overnight. They dressed it this morning, but still there's some clumps and some wet spots around the bases.
I'll tell you, watching this ground crew here, George, and they do the same at Great American Ballpark, but they worked on this field for about 3 hours nonstop. I mean, they picked up every piece of loose dirt that didn't belong where it was. They washed off all the grass. They cut the grass again. And that's a process that takes about 10 guys to get involved in. One lawnmower.
Just got his hand back in.
And 6 or 7 guys standing around. Look like a county project.
Just got his hand in. You don't miss mowing the lawn at the Ponderosa. I know that. Breaking ball misses. New grounds crew here this year. In fact, the two places we went on this road trip, the fields are much better than they ever have been. In New York at Citi Field and here at PNC Park. The Reds are blessed with one of the best fields in all of baseball. From day one, when Doug Gallen took over, to now John Lord and his crew do a great job, especially last year. I mean, it was a remarkable last year. They pulled the tarp 97 times in Cincinnati last year. The guys deserve a medal. Did they get him? Almost. Twice they almost got him at first. Now let's see if McCutcheon will try to turn that around on the 2-2 count and take off. Would you pitch out 2-2? Not often, huh? Not going.
Well, I wouldn't pitch out because I don't believe he's stealing anyway. I think he's just trying to get into the head of Adleman. And secondly, you have 2 outs. So I want Tim Adleman's complete attention on that hitter.
Chess match goes on. McCutcheon and Adleman and Barnhart.
Decide on the pitch you want, believe in it 100%, and finish it when you throw it.
And he did. Great spot, swing and a miss, back-to-back strikeouts, 5 strikeouts for Adleman. Boy, he has been outstanding thus far. Bruce will lead it off. May the 6th through the 8th when the Reds host Star Wars weekend at the ballpark. Saturday, May 7th, first 25,000 fans will receive a Star Wars X-Wing fighter, Mr. Redleg's bobblehead, thanks to Dynergy Energy Services. Get your tickets to Star Wars weekend for as low as $12. Call 513-381-REDS or visit reds.com. Two guys pitching their ball game on this day. We go to the 5th. Jay Bruce, who struck out first time up, faces Jeff Locke. Locke 3 strikeouts through 4. Bruce, Suarez, Duval due up. One ball, 1 strike to Jay Bruce. Now you talk about a day like this when whether you're making your first at bat or your first pitching appearance, it always means something special to the guy who's doing it. Always means something special to, for instance, a scout, Chris Gale, who signed Tim Adleman with the Baltimore Orioles originally. And it always, Chris, means something to mom, dad, the family, and everybody around you who sometimes get to come to the ballpark. Sometimes they find out too late. And this was a kind of a unique situation. They knew that there was a chance he might be pitching today, but they weren't sure if it would become a reality. But in this particular case, Tim Adleman got here from Louisville. He is starting when there was a threat of rain, and this game might be rained out. Here's a 3-2. Swing and a miss. Bruce retired. And JD, you're downstairs with the family reps.
Absolutely. We're here with Randy and Cindy, the parents of Tim Adleman, and upwards of 28 people came to cheer on Tim Adleman today. And Randy, what are your emotions right now?
The word that comes to mind is surreal. You take a deep breath a lot and look at the body of work from the time he was 6 years old and until he's standing out on that mound, and it's indescribable.
Mom, what are the emotions going through you right now?
I think my husband summed it up perfectly, and we're just so grateful to be here.
Now, this was a whirlwind because you didn't find out till yesterday, and I understand you were flying into Louisville and thought he was going to pitch there. Now, how did all these people on short notice get here?
That's a logistics nightmare and a complicated question that I can't answer, but we had people from Florida at a wedding. The captain of his college baseball team got married yesterday. He didn't want to steal the thunder of the bride, so they found out about 9 o'clock last night and rallied and Took flights at 6, 7, 8 this morning to get here. My brother's here. His wife is here. It just, you know, the small village is absolutely true here. So many people had a hand in this. So many great coaches and friends that make it possible, and they all just unbelievably rallied to get here.
And it's taken a, you know, some guys take longer than others to get here. Mom, were there ever times where he had to give Tim a pep talk and keep with it, son?
He usually ended up giving us the pep talk, so he's pretty steady Eddie, and just always knew what he wanted to do and just has never given up. So
final question for you, Dad. He's doing pretty well so far.
Yes, he certainly is. And from our standpoint, couldn't be prouder of just the mental effort here, because, as you know, your debut, it's just a whirlwind, and so it's just been indescribable, frankly.
I got to tell you what, George and Chris, there are some proud people up here in the stands, and why not? This is a day they will never forget, a day Tim Adleman will never forget, and Mom's over here fighting back the tears. I can see it.
Hey, JD, while you got him there, I mean, you talk about scouting reports. Nobody can give you a better scouting report than Dad on his son. Maybe you can get a scouting report on how he developed, how he emerged, and what he does best, what he's done through his career.
I want to get a scouting report from you, Dad, on no one better to get it from you. How did he develop this repertoire, and how's he being successful so far today? You've seen him every year he's pitched.
Well,
well, actually, we're going to do that when we come back. I'm sorry, third out of the inning. We'll be back after this. PNC Park in Pittsburgh, Reds and Pirates at Fox Sports Iowa. Fifth inning of work here in his major league debut. I'm up in the stands with Mom and Pops, and Dad, as we were going to break, wanted to get a breakdown of how he's got here. Break down his stuff.
Basically 3 pitches, 2-seamer that he hopes has run and dive and gets ground balls, a knuckle curveball that he's worked real hard in the offseason to develop, and changeup, which has been his bread and butter. And when he can stay on top and get that done, it gives him a nice repertoire. So that's basically what he'll throw today, and he'll favor off speed if he's going well, and try to just spot the fastball.
How about that for a breakdown, George and Chris?
Hey, Jim,
this guy knows what he's talking about.
It sounds very much like, did he coach, was he a pitcher? Was Randy, Tim's father, a pitcher, and did he coach him on the way up?
Were you a pitcher, and did you coach him all the way through?
I was a poor excuse for a pitcher in high school. I probably was mid-80s right-handed, and but loved the game. Tim has just embraced it. His grandfathers are huge baseball fans, and we're just a baseball family. And I'm gonna have to stop talking to you now.
Yeah, that's okay. It's still a great moment and a great memory for the entire family. Thanks, JD. Thanks, Randy. Thanks, Cindy. And Gregory Polanco finally coming alive in the 3rd game of this series. He hit that one a ton and out of here to right field. Polanco's 3rd homer of the year, 15 runs batted in, and the Pirates have a 1-0 lead. Reds had handled him through the first 2. He was hitless. He singled his first time up, was trying to stretch it into a double, and Billy Hamilton threw him out. And this homer in the 5th gives the Buccos a 1-0 lead. Here's Sean Rodriguez. Down to 3rd, tricky hop, but Suarez takes care of it, and Votto has the out. You just wait for Polanco to put the hammer on this one, Chris.
Wow, this is a no-doubter. The only question was, is it going to hit into the stands or go into the river? Over the stands, probably off the sidewalk, and a bounce or 2 into the river. Jim Day will be in a kayak after the game to try to retrieve that one.
They measure at 419 feet, and the Pirates have a 1-0 lead. There's Jordy Mercer. Popped up to Votto first time up. Yeah, they confirmed now that it did bounce into the Allegheny. This one to left. Here comes Duvall. He's got it, and there's your 2nd out of the inning. So it becomes the 39th home run to bounce into the Allegheny, 39 times by 29 different players. And the Reds, of course, played the first game ever here at PNC Park in 2001. Barry Larkin, the first batter to step to the plate. Sean Casey had the first home run ever hit here. For a Pittsburgh native, that always will be a special moment for Case. In fact, he would have had the first ball out of the ballpark, but he hit another home run in the series that hit one of the speakers, hit one of those speakers that rise above the stands, or else it would have been into the river. Chris Stewart struck out first time up. Adleman about to deliver his 72nd pitch of the afternoon to Stewart. Here's your 2-1. Yes, missing down. 3-1. That's pretty amazing, though, Chris. I mean, Tim didn't know he was coming until yesterday. You get 28 family members, mom and dad, all make it here. It's pretty special.
It really is. I mean, it looked like a great looking family. They could not be happier right now. I couldn't be happier for Tim Adleman. I mean, a couple of years ago, he's probably contemplating just quitting the game entirely. I mean, it's really, truly, you know, you're against the odds anyway when you sign a pro contract. You're a 24th round draft pick. Chances are that you're not making the major leagues. A couple of years after you sign, the team that signed you lets you go and says, yeah, you know, we don't even have a place in our minor leagues for you anymore. And you bounce around between 2 or 3 different independent ball teams and just trying to keep the dream alive. And he pitched a great game his last time out for the Bats, 7 innings of shutout baseball, and the best game he had pitched all year for Louisville. But it was perfect timing. Reds needed a pitcher today. The time in the rotation for Tim Adleman lined up completely. He was throwing the ball well for the guys from down in Louisville. And next thing you know, he's on a big league mound.
Strike 1 to Jeff Locke. Make it 0-2 to the Pirate pitcher.
I just love the way the guy throws strikes. He is simplifying the whole process.
There's that knuckle curve his dad talked about that just misses the zone. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Got him. A strikeout for Adleman. That's 6 through 5 innings. Polanco's homer makes it 1-0. Adleman due up second.
Copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Cincinnati Reds. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds.
Hey, Reds fans, stop by the Reds Connect Zone presented by Miami University at Great American Ballpark during your next visit. Located on the third base concourse between section 109, the Reds Connect Zone offers free charging stations, plus 27 screens of game coverage, tweets, Instagram photos, trending topics, and a whole lot more. And I hope you come to visit the zone on Monday when Brandon Finnegan will face Johnny Cueto. Reds live at 6:30. Game will follow at 7. There's Tucker Barnhart up for the second time. He grounded to short first time up. He leads it off, top of 6. The schedule for the Giants series: Finnegan against Cueto on Monday. Tuesday, a night game. John Moscott against Jess Samardzija. And Dan Straley on Wednesday. it's a 12:35 game against Jake Peavy. Milwaukee comes to town on Thursday for the first of 4, and the Reds rotation very much up in the air after he joined us late. Raisel Iglesias placed on the disabled list today, and that's why Tim Adleman is up here. But Cueto's off to a great start, isn't he, Chris?
He is by far the most efficient strike thrower in baseball right now. As far as first pitch strikes, Johnny Cueto is right around the 80% mark, which is off the charts. So the Reds ought to be ready to swing the bat when they face Johnny on Monday.
He had a no-hitter into the 6th inning, and a brilliant game he pitched against the Dodgers. When we were in St. Louis, we watched that. And of course, Jake Arrieta had a 5-0 month of April. So those two are probably the two front runners for pitcher of the month. They both had great months.
Really hard to beat what Arrieta's done, especially when you cap it off with a no-no.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Loop down the right field line towards the corner. Barnhart rounds first. He's going to try for 2. Polanco has trouble digging it out. He'll have a double. So a double for Tucker Barnhart. He's 1 for 2, and the Reds have the tying run in scoring position here in the 6th.
You know, the older Tucker gets, the more experience he gets at the big league level, the better his swing gets, more controlled. Let him keep his hands inside the ball right here and just try to get the barrel of the bat on the ball. That's the whole idea. Let the angles take care of themselves, and he's able to barrel it up, keep it fair down the line, and pick up a double.
He's learned from his assistant hitting coach, Zach Cozart. They're almost identical,
Well,
their
you know
approach.
what? That's a great example there. You're right, George, of guys having very similar swings.
Here's Adleman showing bunt, fouls it off.
Could really help himself right here. And of course, what he needs to do is get that bunt down the third baseline. You got to get that third baseman to field this ball and let Barnhart get to third base. You know, it's not easy to lay a bunt down to get the catcher who's running over to third. They're going to hold him tight out there.
Two unsuccessful attempts, and it's 0-2. Billy Hatcher halfway down the third base line, rolls through the signs for him, and he steps in again.
Well, they're going to keep it on him. I can guarantee you that. The difference, though, is the lock might be going for a strikeout here. Throw a high fastball out of the zone, bounce a breaking ball in the dirt, try to get him to chase.
A strikeout. He bunts it foul. So for Locke, that's strikeout number 5. Hey, Reds fans, if you can't watch the games on TV, you can now stream Reds games live on your mobile device. Just go to your app store and download the free Fox Sports Go app. Log in and stream the Reds wherever you go. Great to have you with us on Fox Sports Ohio. George Grant, Chris Welsh, Jim Day, Josh Hall, our producer, Brian Hunterman, our director, Kevin Pennewitt giving you some highlights, and Jim Miller dialing up some graphics for you. Back in the studio, Brian Giesenslaw, Jeff Pecoro manning the show today. Matt Sigafus directing in place of Kent Dreamweaver, who's off for the weekend. Daughter graduating, and they got a vacation week coming up. Well deserved, huh? I think Rufus is off this week too. Didn't Ron Millenor go to the Pearl Jam concert? He wouldn't miss one, would he?
Wherever it was.
Wherever it was. 2 balls, no strikes. Ahead in the count is Cozart trying to get the run in. Zach bounced to second and bounced into a 5-4-3 double play.
Well, Zach was so hot there during the first 3 weeks in the month of April that it was just amazing. He was putting the ball in play. He wasn't striking out. He was making contact every time he swung the bat, but he also was getting his fair share of breaks. His batting average on balls in play was well over 400, and the league average is around 295 to 300. So that he's going to come back to earth a little bit just in the luck factor. But he hit the ball hard the other night. He hit a double to drive home Billy Hamilton in last night's game. So really what I'm saying is don't look for Zach Cozart to be a 380 hitter at the end of the year, but he looks like a different hitter this year than he did back in 2014.
He's certainly solidified the leadoff spot thus far this year. And there's ball 4. So 2 on, 1 out, and here's Billy Hamilton. Billy picked up his 4th hit in the last 2 games, a double to right in the first time up, and flied out last time up. So he's 1 for 2. That's up high for a ball.
Yeah, I'd really like to see Billy Hamilton take a few pitches. You got to remember that when you're facing Jeff Locke, even though he did have a good outing his last time out, 6 innings of shutout baseball, previous to that, his control has been abominable. In fact, he has thrown almost a walk per inning. So you come into this ball game, and one of your game plans has to be, I'm going to make this guy throw strikes. Last time up, Billy jumped on the first pitch and he hit a little lazy fly ball to left fielder. I want to see Hamilton take as many pitches as possible off a guy like Jeff Locke.
Hit down the third base line, but just foul by about a foot over the bag. That gives you 1 run, maybe 2.
I want him to be aggressive with runners in scoring position. That was exactly, or nearly exactly, where that double went in the first inning.
1 ball, 1 strike to Billy. Down to third, almost the exact same spot, foul again.
See, that's a little slider cutter that Jeff Locke throws, and it's almost impossible to keep that ball fair because it's boring it on your hands. It's going down. The only way you're going to put the barrel on it is if you hit it way out in front of the plate. And when you do that, you pull it.
Rodriguez still hugging the line with Hamilton at the plate. Rodriguez has played just about everywhere in the infield the last couple of years for Clint Hurdle. Will regularly be the defensive replacement at first and gets the start at third. There's Dave Joss, the veteran bench coach, in his 2nd year of the bench coach for Clint Hurdle. Loop towards left, sinking. It will drop for a hit. Barnhart slips and falls, and they're going to get him. Barnhart tried to slam on the brakes when he thought Marte might make a play, and when he tried to restart the engine, he slipped, and they get the force at third. So instead of a base hit and the bases loaded, still first and second, and the Reds, for the lack of any luck, no good luck.
Really hard to blame Tucker Barnhart on this because from my perspective, it looked like Marte was going to catch this ball. In fact, I really thought he was going to be, catching it with ease. And when he let it drop in front of him, Barnhart wasn't sure what to do, had to get over to third base, and Marte's got good enough arm to throw him out. I think that's just bad luck.
No, you can't blame Tucker on that. I mean, the way Marte plays, here's a bouncer under the glove of Harrison into right. Here comes the runner around third. Here comes Polanco's throw, not in time. Votto's delivered a run-scoring hit, and this game is tied at 1. Joey drilled one past the Pirates' second baseman to pick up run batted in number 11, and this game's knotted again, now at 1.
He didn't wait very long. You see the pitch going into the outer part of the plate, and Votto just laying the wood to it. Line drive and a shot right by Harrison at second.
So Votto's on at first. Cozart went all the way to third. It's first and third with 2 outs, and here comes Brandon Phillips. Here goes Joey. They'll bluff the throw, and Votto will have a stolen base.
That's a smart move on the part of the Reds right there. They had figured that they weren't going to throw down to second base right there. Nobody wants to take a chance of maybe a ball being in the dirt, giving Billy Hamilton just enough time to steal home. So now they're going to load the bases with an intentional walk and go lefty-lefty against Jay Bruce.
Billy was ready to bolt if they did throw down to second. So Votto will pick up his first stolen base of the season. That'll load him on the intentional walk. And here comes Jay. Jay struck out twice against Locke thus far this afternoon. In his career, a .231 hitter coming in at 6 for 26. Against Bruce, Locke has thrown fastballs up and breaking balls in the dirt. Hamilton very cognizant of a ball in the dirt. In the Phillips at bat, took a big lead, and he'll be doing the same thing. If it squirts away from Stewart, he'll be on his horse. So here's Jay. 4 homers, 15 knocked in on the season. Trying to pick up another grand salami. There's your fastball in.
Well, exactly the way that Locke started him off last time. 2 fastballs in, a slider away, and it was a strikeout for Bruce, which is what he's done each time he's faced Locke in this game.
Locke from the stretch with the bases loaded. Breaking ball down and away with Hamilton a third of the way down the line at third.
You know, that breaking ball the Locke throws is not a real big one. It's not a big curve ball. It's not a real downward cutting slider either. But it looks just enough like a fastball that he gets a lot of swings on it.
Ripped into the right field corner. That'll get at least 2 in, maybe 3. Phillips is on his horse. 1 run scores. Here comes Phillips. The throw to the plate will be in time. They got him. But Jay Bruce delivers a rocket into the corner that plates 2, and the Reds have a 3-1 lead.
Oh.
Another look at the swing, Chris.
Well, he didn't get it in there far enough, and Jay Bruce ready for it, dropped the hammer. Here comes Brandon Phillips around. They call him out at the plate. Will Little, the umpire. Now, as soon as that happened, you watch Billy Hatcher right there in the corner of your screen. He comes out of your screen now, but he jumps up and down saying there's no way they got him. So Brian Price waiting for the word from Rob Coughlin. Are they going to take a chance at a review here?
He might be in there. Originally it looked like he was out, and so far, and now Brian is heading down to the dugout steps, and they will not challenge. But Jay Bruce delivers. Reds lead at 3-1.
Reds lead on Fox Sports Ohio, and Brandon Phillips back out there to pick it at second. I'm Jim Day. We're counting down the top 5 moments of April. We reached number 3, and it came last night, last day of the month. Brandon Phillips being Brandon Phillips. We've seen this many times, and he practices it hundreds of times behind the back. Credit Votto for being ready for the flip. We talked to Phillips about his philosophy of going behind the back.
Going behind my back is better than myself trying to catch the ball forward, and then I got to turn my body all the way around to throw to first. I just feel like if I practice on something like that, you know, it just happened in the game like it did today. And I just thought that was the best play to really make. And as long as you make the play, that's all that really matters. You know, even though I did look good making that play.
And a little dab at the end. Top 2 moments coming up.
John Jaso flies to center field, 1 away. By the way, JD, BP says he's cool with you sitting down with mom and dad to evaluate his greatest plays. That would be a fun sit down.
It really would. I tell you what, I spent a lot of time talking to his father in spring training. In fact, over the years, talked a lot of baseball with him, and his dad, a big baseball guy, if you will, the academy down there in Atlanta, and he is Brandon's #1 coach. No question about that.
And you know where he got his smile from, right? The 2 of them, huh? Do you ever see them not smiling?
No. No. Particularly the mom. He really got his mom smile.
One away. Here's McCutchen, struck out and walked. So the Reds 3 runs, 4 hits now to a run and 2 hits and an error for the Buccos. By the way, to tidy up that RBI double by Jay Bruce for Jay, that's his 220th double. That ties him for number 18 on the Reds all-time list with Ernie Lombardi and Joe Morgan. Pretty good company. Center field, back, Hamilton, got it. He would have been a good wide receiver, huh, Chris?
Well, he was already playing a little bit deeper in that particular bat with McCutchen. You know, sometimes Billy Hamilton plays very shallow. Other times he's given the hitter a little bit more credit. McCutchen, of course, you give the advantage to him. That ball was hit on a line. He caught it right at the warning track. So the Pirates center fielder hit it a long way, but there was Billy to haul it in.
So 2 away in the 6th, and here comes Josh Harrison. Flied out, struck out 0 for 2.
Great momentum inning in the build right here for Adleman. You give up a run, your team comes back and scores 3, and you get quick 2 outs from the top of the order. He's pitching like he's been up here for 10 years.
Aggressive all afternoon long.
Well, the first 5 innings, he threw 15 first pitch strikes to the 18 batters that he faced.
Right field, Bruce over, measured it, got it. 3 fly ball outs in the 6th. How about 28-year-old Tim Adleman? What a brilliant start so far. He's got a 3-1 lead. Time for our Honda game summary. What a debut for Tim Adleman, the 28-year-old native and graduate of Georgetown. 6 innings pitched, 2 hits, a couple of strikeouts. He's been getting it going through 6 innings. He gave up a home run to Gregory Polanco, trail 1-0. But the Reds battled back in the 6th inning. A run scoring hit by Votto tied the game at 1 for Joey. Run scored number 663 when he eventually scores on a Jay Bruce double. Bruce's 220th double of his career, 2-run score, and the Reds have a 3-1 lead. So a smiling scoreboard for the Reds right now. They lead at 3-1. Here's Eugenio Suarez, who will lead it off as we go to the top of the 7th. Suarez bounced out 6-3 and 4-3. Facing Jeff Locke here in the 7th. Over shifting to the left side are the Buccos against Suarez. Suarez in his career coming in was 5 for 9 and a homer against Locke, but Locke has handled him well. Again, jamming him down and in on almost every pitch. This one hit hard, but right at the shortstop Mercer. Off balance throw, got him.
Kind of funny, really, because Suarez, who has had a pretty good run at it against Locke, for the first time this year gets moved out of the number 2 or the number 4 slot in the order, and he's down to number 6. That may be more of an indication of what Brian Price is seeing with Suarez at the plate now versus what he saw earlier in the summer. Plus, you have Billy Hamilton in the number 2 spot.
Yeah, Brian Price said before the game he thought off what Billy had, and again Billy hitting from the right side today, and the way Votto's been swinging a little better, that it might produce something. And you know what? It started that rally in the 6th inning.
It did. You get a leadoff double, then the pitcher unable to advance the runner on a bunt, but the offense picked him up from there.
Here's Duvall, 2 fly balls to center. Slap to the right side and out of play. No balls, 2 strikes. Fly ball to right this time. Polanco there. He's got it. Adams retired. 2 away, and here comes Tucker Barnhart. Barnhart started it all in the 6th inning, and really, when you add it up, had it not been for the play where Barnhart got caught in no man's land between second and third and was forced to third on what should have been a base hit by Billy Hamilton, the inning would have been even bigger for the Reds. And it wasn't Barnhart's fault. Marte came within a step or two of making a great catch. He had to wait to see if the ball would drop, and then by that time Marte was only about 100 feet from third, and he forced him out at third. But Barnhart 1 for 2, the double. Down to third. That's a fair ball, backhanded by Rodriguez. He throws it wide. Barnhart turns first, goes to second, and Tucker will be in scoring position. That'll go as an error on the third baseman.
Well, Tucker gets robbed right here because it's a nice defensive play by Rodriguez to snag it, although he does get a Sunday hop. And then he just winds up and cuts it loose, not even close over there for Jaso to be able to flag down.
Second error of the day by the Pirates, so the Reds have a runner in scoring position. And the pitcher Adleman coming up. Adleman tried to bunt last time up and fouled off a third strike for a strikeout.
Well, maybe he's a better hitter than he is a bunter.
Sounds good to me. We didn't get that scouting report from Dad yet.
You know, normally when Jim Day is reporting from right next to the family of the pitcher, we try to do that when the Reds are batting, because he has a knack for the home run ball.
That's a great moment. Great moment to hear from his mom and dad. I mean, home run aside, he'll take the home run if he ends up with a W by the time this day's over. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Barnhart off second. Adleman at the plate, swing and a miss. He's retired. So the Reds get a runner, nothing to show for it. To the bottom of 7, Marte, Polanco, and Rodriguez due up. There is action in the Reds bullpen. Job by Kevin Pennewitt as he gives you a review of Johnny Cueto's days in a Reds uniform. Johnny B. Good's coming back this week. He'll face Brandon Finnegan tomorrow night. Cueto off to a 4-1 start along with Arrieta, the 2 best starting pitchers in the league for the month of April. Brandon Finnegan's been outstanding for the Reds. His record should be better, but he's had some tough luck late in ball games. 1-1 and a 3.86. That's tomorrow with the Reds pregame show coming 30 minutes before tomorrow's game and every game with all the info you need for Reds baseball on Reds Live on Fox Sports Ohio. Reds Live presented by Ray St. Clair Roofing. A little rendition to take me out to the ball game here at PNC Park in Pittsburgh. The Reds trail 1-0 after a Polanco home run to lead off the 5th against Tim Adleman, and then Cincinnati bounced back in the top of the 6th with a run scoring hit by Joey Votto to tie it at 1 and a double with the bases loaded by Jay Bruce that chased home 2 to make it 3-1 Cincinnati. And the star of this day, our Steel Powell Tour performer, is Tim Adleman, the 28-year-old rookie out of Georgetown, the guy who got his big chance at the major league level today. Chris, and boy, has he been equal to the task.
Well, not only a rookie, but making his major league debut in front of his family here that came in to see this ball game, and he's kept it very simple. 6 innings of 2-hit baseball. He has struck out 6, throwing lots of strikes out there.
So Adleman ready to go to work to 4, 5, and 6. Marte hit one to the wall in right center that Billy Hamilton made a great catch on. Then he was struck out by Adleman in the 4th. Polanco 2 for 2, a single and a homer, and then Sean Rodriguez to follow.
Now the third time through the order hasn't bothered Adleman so far. The first 3 he has faced for the third time have all made outs. That was last inning in a 1-2-3 inning. He's had 4 3-batter innings, and he's been very efficient with his pitches.
Down to third, but foul. I mean, you're talking, Chris, you do so many clinics for young pitchers, and it all starts with strike one, and that's exactly what he's done today.
Yeah, you got to have the confidence that your stuff is good enough to pitch in the major leagues, and I think that's the biggest thing that we see with young pitchers coming up. Deep down somewhere, they don't believe that they're good enough to be here, so they start to nibble around on the corners.
Phillips backhand, but can't get the ball out of the glove, so it'll be a base hit for Marte. They almost turned in another spectacular play as Adleman got low bridged.
Well, first Adleman gets out of the way of this ball, little swipe at it, and then Brandon looks like he's going to be able to get it. He's trying to transfer the ball from his glove to his hand while in midair, and just loses the handle.
And here comes Brian Price. It looks like at 92 pitches, that may be it for Adleman. He gets a pat on the shoulder from Tucker Barnhart. Cozart coming over, and boy, the Reds contingent, including his family and 28 family and friends that are around him, giving him a standing ovation, and well deserved. Tim Adleman, his major league debut, and boy, it's been a dandy. And now let's hope the Reds bullpen can reward him with a W. Time for our Skyline Chili call to the bullpen. You're watching Reds baseball on Fox Sports Ohio. His manager Brian Price, the emotion going through him must be special, Chris.
Well, he's got to be so happy with the way things have turned out. You always have a dream, you know, in your major league debut, you throw a perfect game shutout. But in this case, he did a pretty doggone good job for the Reds. Left in the 7th inning with a man on base. He'll turn it over to Tony Cingrani, but a very nice job, well done for Tim Adleman. I imagine he's looking up in the stands for his family right now. And knowing Gary Wayhoff gave him good tickets. Right there, seated all together, and now he can just sit back and cross his fingers.
He sure can hear him, that's for sure. We can hear him all the way up here. Here's Tony Cingrani facing Polanco, then Rodriguez due up, and Jordy Mercer.
Yeah, we need some strikes out of Cingrani here. He's had a rough go of it from that standpoint. 8 walks in a little bit over 9 innings, but he's not walked the batter in either of his last 2 outings. Got him.
Almost. The long arms of Starling Marte just got back in there before the tag. Polanco singled to center, was out trying to stretch it into a double on a great throw from Billy Hamilton in the 2nd. And he homered in the 5th to give the Pirates a 1-0 lead. Whiffs at that. 1 ball and 1 strike. Tony, now 26 years of age. Cingrani, a native of Chicago, grew up a White Sox fan. Whole family of White Sox fans. Signed by the Reds in 2011. Been with the big club the last 3 years. Originally in the minor leagues was a starter and used in the bullpen here. A little zip on that one. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Cingrani came from a great college tradition. Wayne Graham at Rice University. They produced not just great pitchers, a lot of great potential major leaguers. That's some zip, huh? Strikeout number 1 for Cingrani, out number 1 here in the 7th.
You know, no matter how much Tony Cingrani works on that breaking ball of his best pitch is this four-seamer up. So many hitters will swing underneath that pitch because from his arm slot, the ball just doesn't sink very much. And he's got enough on it to really keep you honest. And the other good news is that it's equally effective against righties and lefties.
This one hit deep to left towards the corner, curving. It is off the wall. Great effort by Duvall. He staggers. Billy Hamilton will pick it up. 1 run will score, and Rodriguez will cruise into third. Duvall staggered as he hit his shoulder and his head against the padding.
I got to really be worried about Duvall after that. I mean, he went head first into that wall and left field, trying to grab that line drive. There's Steve Bauman. He's the Reds trainer heading out there to talk to him. I mean, he went in there and hit it with his head first and his body second.
What a great effort by Adam Duvall. Take another look. I mean, he knows he's going to get nailed by the wall, and he almost catches up with this. Hits his head and his shoulder. Gets up, can't find the ball, and staggers a bit as Billy Hamilton. And Chris, it's a good thing Billy Hamilton was over there quickly, or Rodriguez would have gone all the way around the bases.
Well, the ball did kick towards center field a little bit. Hamilton realized that immediately, that Duvall was not going to be able to get there, and they hold him for 3. You know, that was, just before that play, we were talking about Cingrani's fastball. He elevated it against Polanco and threw it right by him. That time he got it thigh high to Rodriguez, and he laid the hammer on it.
Rodriguez has been so valuable to this club defensively, playing multiple positions, but offensively he's come up with some big at bats and some big home runs for this club. Yesterday was a good example. He homered late in the game to put the game out of reach in the 8th inning to give the Pirates a 5-1 lead. Steve Bauman trying to get the right answers from Duvall, whether or not they'll leave him in or not. And it looks like Adams trying to talk his way to stay in. I think more than anything, Chris, they're concerned about concussion here. It looks like they checked his shoulder, checked his hand. And now they just want to make sure that his bell wasn't rung too hard. Oh, what a difference today from the old days, huh? The old days, they put 3 fingers in front of your face and say, how many fingers I got? You'd say 2. They say, try again.
Well, if you came within 3, you were okay.
You were okay. It's like Duvall's doing his best to argue himself back into the game, isn't Adam?
Well, I don't think he'd do that if he didn't feel right.
No.
They just want to make sure he's thinking right out there, and that he's not, just reacting and trying to be a tough guy. Now the crew chief, Ted Barrett's going to work his way out there and try to get the Reds to make a decision one way or another.
Now he's going to stay in, but now the tough road to hoe for the Reds is, with 1 out, the potential tying runs down at third. Take another look at the collision of Adam Duvall and a wall in left field. Shoulder, head, and first he looks for the ball. Then he staggers a bit when he realizes the ball has gone away and tries to get his bearings. Meanwhile, Billy Hamilton there to hold the runner, Rodriguez to third. Sofield was waving him at third.
Now, don't be surprised to see the Pirates, after a timeout like this, an extended timeout, the flow of the game's not back here. Don't be surprised not to see a suicide squeeze here on the very first pitch before you can kind of get back into the scheme of things here.
Still old style baseball. When you have a lengthy delay like that, the old Bobby Cox or Sparky Anderson move, that's when it would happen. That pitch wide, ball 1. Jordy Mercer, by the way, a great bunter. I mean, other than Harrison, Mercer the best bunter on this club. Mercer popped up twice. 2 balls, no strikes. Chris Stewart behind him. Reds infield, the edge of the infield grass. Fouled off, 2-1. If you just joined us, Pirates took a 1-0 lead on a Polanco homer. Reds came back in the 6th. A run scoring single by Votto. Jay Bruce plated 2 with a double. The Reds led 3-1. That misses wide. Tim Adleman has been brilliant. He pitched 6+ innings, exited with 3 hits, 1 run. Charged against him, but the second run charged against him as well. He left Starling Marte on the bases when he exited. And there's ball 4. You almost figure you hit the 7th that they will in fact pitch hit for the pitcher when they get to the 9th spot in the order. So do you walk Stewart, load the bases, create a force at any base?
Yeah, Brian Price has seen enough. I think he's seen enough relievers come out of the bullpen and not be able to throw the ball over the 17-inch wide plate, and that will be goodbye to Tony Cingrani.
So while the pitching change takes place, we'll take time out for these messages. You're watching Reds baseball on Fox Sports Ohio. Join Mo Egger from 700 WLW for the Reds fan cam this Friday night at the Holy Grail. It's your chance to answer Reds trivia, win great prizes, be part of Reds Live. Party starts at 6 this Friday at the Holy Grail. Stop by and see Mo. Just talk some sports, talk some baseball with him. Well, here it's 1st and 3rd, 1 out. Chris Stewart due up, and here's Caleb Coffin who will come in to try to slam the door on the Buccos. He came in yesterday and gave up that 2-run home run to Rodriguez in the 9th. First home run he's allowed this year. Reds middle of the infield, back looking for 2. Stewart struck out and walked so far today. Waves at it, strike 1. Mercer short lead down at first. Stewart steps out. Rick Sofield rolls through some signs down at third. Over in the first base coach's box, Dix Leyva confirming for the runner at first, Mercer. 1-1. Good block by Barnhart. It's a way to do it, huh, Chris?
Well, he's as good as there is back there, and following the fundamentals. If you want the textbook version of how to do it, watch Barnhart. They want to pitch Stewart away, and that's a good spot for him. He just doesn't look committed to that outer part of the plate, but you got to be able to get it on the corner. They're going to come inside now.
And in there for a strike, 2-2. The Reds this year have turned either the fewest or next to fewest double plays in the league. They would love one right now. In the dirt, blocked again by Barnhart, and we'll go full 3-2.
I really hate to see it go full count like this, because they'll probably put the runner in motion even though you don't have a speedster down at first base. You know, sometimes you just give the hitter too much credit. Stewart is a lifetime .217 hitter. There's a reason he's a backup catcher, and it's not because he can't catch and throw. He does that very well. You got to come after him.
Full count, 3-2. Rodriguez off third. Mercer off first. Cotham to the stretch. There goes the runner. This one popped up. Phillips, he may have a chance to get the runner back at first, but back quickly is Mercer. Had it been a little more shallow and not as high, Mercer had gone 2/3 of the way to second, but had time to get back.
Yeah, good comeback there by Cotham, throwing a strike when he had to.
So now with the pitcher Jeff Locke due up, they'll go to Matt Joyce, the pinch hitter, and this guy has added a lot to this bench for the Pirates. A team that lost Alvarez and lost Walker from the left side of the plate. He's provided some pop, including 2 big swings in this series already. Solid offensive player. Jaso on deck, the number 9 spot in the order. Matt Joyce, the pinch hitter, up. Joyce in his matchups with Cotham 1 for 1. From the stretch is the Reds right-hander. Still first and third, but now 2 outs. That's a strike. Cotham, when he came up in the Yankee organization, was fastball around 89, 90 and a slider. What's been more effective for him in the last year or so is the development of a breaking ball.
And a development of a fastball that's now about 93.
Amazing the 3 or 4 miles difference that he's been able to put on it. This one sawed off. Can anybody get there? Kozar can't get there. The tying run will score. Great pitch, broken bat, and Kozar came within a foot of putting a glove on it. So we're tied at 3.
Now that's just nothing but bad luck right there for the Reds. Good pitch by Cotham. He gets him sawed off right on the trademark, and Joyce just drops it right in there.
So now the go-ahead runs at third, still first and third, and here's Jaso. Now Tim pitched great, 6+ innings, 3 hits, 2 runs allowed. He will not get a win on this day. Jaso today flied out, bounced out, flied out 0 for 3. Cotham to the stretch. Mercer now on third, Joyce on first. Kozart went a long way and came within a foot of getting a glove on that. That's a strike, 0-2. Cotham to the stretch. Fastball misses. Got him. But the broken bat base hit by Joyce plates the tying run. So a brand new game as we head to the 8th. We're tied at 3. This one from you, and hopefully that'll be a smiling scoreboard that the Reds will be able to report on. On this day, Tim Adleman did everything he could do to ensure a Reds victory. 6+ innings, he pitched well. Here's Jared Hughes, and there's a shot into right. It'll go over the head of the right fielder Polanco, and Kozart will cruise in with a 2-base hit. Hit right on the button by Cozart. Polanco came in and it rolled over his head. It'll go as a double, and the Reds have the go-ahead run sitting at second. Jared Hughes is the new pitcher for the Pirates.
Well, you can show bad judgment and you can misjudge. I would say this comes under the category of misjudge, that's for sure. Because he thought that ball was not hit anywhere near as hard as Cozart hit it. Cozart's actually hit the ball hard a couple of times, and that's the first hit that he has to show for it.
And they're going to check on Cozart out at second. He's pointing at that right knee, which of course is a surgically repaired knee. Take a look.
Let's take a look and see if we see anything in the swing, the run. Look like he's all right there, no, because he thought it was going to be hit or caught, and then he slows down and he comes into second and can't imagine what it was, but he's in pain and he's leaving the ball game.
Yeah,
boy, another bad break.
Man, he's had some tightness in the upper leg above the knee, but he said all along that the knee is felt fine. But Tomas Vera, the assistant trainer, out to check him, and he will exit. So Tyler Holt will come in and pitch run for him. Holt, great speed. He represents the go-ahead run here in the 8th inning. And here comes Billy Hamilton. So the Reds have it drawn up the way they love it, with the meat of the order coming up. Billy shows bunt, drops it down. Stewart will get the out at first. Going to third is Holt. Good job by Billy Hamilton. Sacrifice for Billy. The go-ahead run down at third now with 1 out, and here's the Reds' best hitter, Joey Votto, who's already driven in 1 run today. He tied the game with a single in the 6th. And they will walk him intentionally, most likely, you would think. Yes, they will. So Votto will be walked. That'll give way to Brandon Phillips.
And this isn't because the Pirates do not respect Brandon Phillips. This is all about baseball strategy of trying to put a runner at first base and get a ground ball double play. It plays into the strength of the Pirate pitcher, Jared Hughes, who, when he's on his game, he is a prolific ground ball pitcher. He gets about 65% ground ball outs compared to 35% fly ball outs. So this is all about getting the ball hit on the ground and turning two.
Hughes just came off the disabled list, went on a injury rehab down to AAA. Began the season on the disabled list with a muscle strain.
Well, he had a terrible spring. He went down there and didn't pitch well at all. He pulled a lat muscle in his throwing shoulder area, or down in the lower back or higher back, and just came along very slowly. In fact, they just activated him the other day.
Well, here comes Brandon in his career 5 for 10 against Hughes. Today, fly to center, bounced to second, and he was intentionally walked back in the 6th. That brought Jay Bruce to the plate with the bases loaded, and Bruce responded with a double. Well, let's see if the Reds can turn around the strategy one more time. Hit deep down the left field line, curving foul, and way out of play. He was right on it, but just couldn't steer it fair. In the 6th, after a double and a walk and a run scoring single tied the game at 1, Phillips was walked intentionally, and Bruce, with 2 outs, doubled into the right field corner. Here's the strike one. They'll throw over to first. Holt, a good base runner and good speed down at third. Tyler came up in the Indians organization, played at Columbus last year. Reds picked him up at the end of the year, and he made the club out of spring training. Missing inside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Pirates bullpen gets better with big number 48 back in it again.
Well, they do, but it looks to me right now, though, George, that breaking ball is very flat. He's kind of got a lower arm slot, and there's not a lot of downward movement on that fastball either. At least not what we've seen so far. That's a good slider. I mean, Hughes is a big guy. He's 6 feet 7 inches tall. It seems like he's right on top of the plate when he gets rid of it. He may even look bigger in those throwback uniforms.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Reds trying to eke across a run here in the 8th. Bloop to the right side. Harrison there, and he'll squeeze it. The runners have to hold. So now 2 away. And that'll bring up Jay Bruce. Bruce against Hughes in his career is 2 for 9. Jay today struck out in the 2nd, struck out in the 5th against Jeff Lott. And then after they walked Phillips intentionally to get to him one more time, he spoiled the strategy, hitting a rocket into the right field corner that plated 2. And Phillips was thrown out at the plate trying to score the 3rd run from first for the final out of the inning. So let's see if Jay can deliver again. Votto off first, Holt off third. Hughes to the stretch. Missing down low. There goes Votto. Stewart's throw. They'll get him in a rundown. Can Holt score? They'll throw to the plate. The throw will be kicked away. He didn't touch the plate yet. He's back to touch the plate, and the run scores. Well, the Reds pull one out of their pocket for this one. Votto got caught in the rundown. The throw to home plate had Holt dead to rights. But when Stewart reached out to tag him, it was deflected by his body, kicked away, and the run scores, and the Reds have the lead. Another look, Chris.
I can't imagine that this was a planned play, not at the big league level where arms are good enough to throw the ball that far. He's got him completely dead to rights, but the ball just bounces right out of Stewart's glove. The sweep tag with one hand was not enough to keep the ball in there, so the Reds catch a huge break after giving up the tying run on a horrible break.
Well, what has been a bizarre at times first month of the year, where almost everything that could happen has happened negatively for the Reds in key situations. Maybe this will be a worm turner. So Votto's in scoring position, and here's still Bruce at the plate. Another insurance run would be nice here in the 8th inning. He was a dead duck. The ball just squirted out of Stewart's glove. That's ball 4. So
well, it didn't look like after Votto ends up on second base that Jared Hughes wanted anything to do with Jay Bruce right there. Now with Suarez in the on deck circle, so it's righty on righty here.
So Suarez, who's 0 for 7 against Hughes, will step to the plate. Still from the stretch is Hughes. Now his 15th pitch of the inning. Votto off second. That's inside. Stewart tried to stretch to make the tag. I remember, Chris, a similar situation years ago when Brad Ausmus was catching in Houston. And he always said, you put the ball in your right hand and hold the ball. Never let it be in your glove.
Well, I don't think he really had a choice right there, because it was going to be a pretty close play at the plate, and he was kind of standing in front of the plate. So the new rule of the catchers not being able to block the baseline caused catchers to have to sweep tag with the ball in their glove, not holding it in there with their meat hand.
Down to third, but foul. So it'll go as an error. No stolen base for Votto and a fielder's choice. The error will go to Stewart. 1 ball, 2 strikes to the Reds' third baseman. Suarez stuck on 5 homers and 15 knocked in. He'd love a jolt right here. Votto off second, Bruce off first here in the 8th. Hit hard, and they'll tap the bag to get the final out, but not before the Reds get a little business done in the 8th. Tyler Holt running for Zach Cozart jars the ball out of the glove of Stewart. The Reds have a 4-3 lead.
Down the top 5 moments of April. Opening day, Tyler Holt in the 9th inning going to the line and getting at a defensive replacement. Dare I say an energy guy, but not one game-saving catch that day. It was 2. Next batter, Billy Hamilton, going and getting it. Back-to-back game-saving catches on opening day for the Reds. Moment number 2 of April. Top moment coming up.
Thanks, JD. Any indication on Zach Cozart when he went to the bench on his status? He did not look good as he left the field.
Well, there's a lot of frustration. You could tell he was very angry in the dugout, but then immediately went underneath, so no indication yet.
Well, here's Caleb Kaufman, who continues here in the 9th inning, in the bottom of the 8th rather, with Andrew McCutchen due up, then Harrison, then Marte. McCutchen so far struck out, walked, and flied to center field.
George, we can't let the day get away without congratulating AAA player Louisville bat Jermaine Curtis, honored as the April International League Player of the Month. Second baseman down there just had a great month. .385 average, scored 9 runs, drove in 18. Every time he turned around, he was on base. So congratulations to Jermaine Curtis.
Pretty good numbers for Jermaine for the month of April. 2 balls, 2 strikes to McCutchen. This one looped in the right. That's a base hit. Bruce charging. McCutchen will hold at first. So a leadoff hitter on here in the bottom of the 8th.
You know, I've always noticed that there are 2 ways that you can break a bat. One is you get a ball right in on your hands, and the other you get the ball right out on the end of the bat. And I believe that was the way that happened right here for McCutchen. The bat head just separates from the handle. That ball right on the edge. And he picks up an opposite field base hit.
Sawed off piece of lumber, leadoff hitter on. Ivan De Jesus Jr. now the shortstop with Cozart out. Ivan celebrating birthday number 29 today. Coming in here in the 8th inning. So here's Harrison. Flied out, struck out, flied out. Right field, foul, and out of play. While McCutchen doesn't run as much as he used to, with Harrison at the plate, don't be surprised that they might hit and run. Harrison, sometimes when he first came up, would be used in those situations off the bench often. There goes the runner. There goes a hit down to short. Good job by De Jesus to hang. And they get the out. Good job by Votto at the other end. Well, it almost worked for the Pirates, but De Jesus held his ground, Chris, and they at least got an out of this.
Oh, was that a play filled with a lot of drama? That ball hit very sharply by Harrison. He's holding his spot right there. That's what you're supposed to do when the other man covers. And it's a good thing he did. Now he throws the ball wide, but Votto does the long stretch to make sure he keeps the contact with first base.
So that puts the tying run out at second and brings up Starling Marte. Marte flied out, struck out, and reached on an infield hit. Great speed at second. Good base runner in McCutchen. Down to third. There's a base hit. Here comes McCutchen. Here comes Duvall. Here comes the throw to the plate. He's going to be safe. The foot got in before the tag, and we're tied again. Duvall unloaded it about as quick as he could. The speed of McCutchen buys a run. We're tied at 4.
That's just clutch hitting right there coming up. It looked like McCutchen put his foot down and then bounced a little bit on his way to sliding right there. His right knee is the one that's giving him the problems, and he winces as he gets up. But he's able to get his foot in just ahead of the tag.
And with the throw to the plate, Marte now goes to second. So the go-ahead runs out at second. And here comes Polanco. They will walk him intentionally. With one out, setting up a possible double play. But that'll bring up the best pinch hitter that the Pirates have, who's in the lineup today, and that's Sean Rodriguez. He's already delivered a triple in a key situation.
You think back to the time when Clint Hurdle put McCutchen in motion on that ground ball out. If you don't run him right there, it's a ground ball double play, and you're out of the inning right now.
Those little things sometimes act in your favor, sometimes bite you. At least in this situation, it worked for the Buccos, and here comes Rodriguez. Sean started at third today, struck out, bounced out, and then his triple to left off the wall. Duvall made a leaping effort, crashed into the wall, it kicked away. A run scored to bring the Pirates within 1 in the 7th.
Well, we wondered how the bullpen's going to lay out in a tight ball game. We're finding out right now as Brian Price has already gone to the home plate umpire to make a double switch. And we're going to the bullpen.
While the pitching change takes place, he'll take time out for these messages. You're watching Reds baseball on Fox Sports Ohio. Baseball on Fox Sports Ohio is being brought to you by T-Mobile. Get Major League coverage. T-Mobile has doubled its 4G LTE in the last year. And by Toyota. For over 30 offers, visit buyatoyota.com. Toyota, let's go places. Changes for the Reds. Double switch by Reds manager Brian Price. Jay Bruce comes out of the game in the number 5 spot in the order, and Ross Ohlendorf will be the new pitcher. That means that Scott Schebler will enter the game in left, and from left to right goes Adam Duvall. So it's Duvall in right, Hamilton in center, Schebler in left. First and second with Duvall over in right, Ohlendorf ready to go to work.
And Clint Hurdle wants to make sure he's got it straight on his scorecard. I'll tell you what, things happen when Ohlendorf comes into a ball game. He's pitched 11 games, a little over 10 innings, and he's got 3 wins and 2 losses.
So Ohlendorf will work from the stretch. Runners at first and second. Marte, great speed out at second. Polanco intentionally walked down at first. Rodriguez facing Ohlendorf for the first time. Still only 1 out here in the bottom of the 8th.
Of course, there are a few people around Pittsburgh that remember very well Ross Ohlendorf. After all, he started nearly 60 games for the Pirates in a spread between 2008 and 2011.
Tied at 4 in the 8th inning. Missing up. 2-1. Rodriguez will ask for time and step out. Big guy from the stretch. That's a swing and a miss. Ohlendorf, originally selected by Arizona, then traded to the Yankees, then from the Yankees to the Pirates, and really got his baptism of fire here in Pittsburgh at the major league level. Two. Waves at, got him, good pitch.
Good looking breaking ball.
Strikeout number 1 for Ohlendorf, out number 2 in the inning, and here comes Jordy Mercer.
Ohlendorf gives you a lot that he tries to distract you with, mainly that glove. He flashes that glove way high up in the air, almost to try to get your attention, and then from that same spot is his release point.
There's Mercer, flied out, popped up, and walked. Ball 1 from the big right-hander. Marte trying to get every inch of a lead, and Phillips trying to jockey him back whenever he can. Marte and Phillips have had an ongoing conversation. What else is new? One ball delivery, that's inside, ball 2. Chris Stewart, the catcher, on deck. Good smother job by Barnhart, but it's 3-0. Brian Price has called upon his bullpen night after night, and very few times has he been able to reach a comfort zone. Today, another one of those examples. That's a strike right down the middle. Votto flags it down. They'll go to second and get the final out of the inning. So the Buccos will strand a pair here in the 8th. We're going to the 9th. Tied at 4 in Pittsburgh. May the 4th and see your Reds take on the Giants thanks to Paycor. For only $20 you can enjoy Reds baseball and get $10 in concession credits. Good towards food, beverages, and merchandise. For tickets, call 513-381-REDS or visit reds.com/skipwork. Some restrictions apply. And just like we promised you earlier in the game, it's Miller time, brought to you by Miller Lite. Usually when he enters the game, he provides some energy, and Tyler Holt sure did. Votto gets caught in a rundown between first and second. Holt trying to score, jars the ball loose from the glove of Chris Stewart. He missed home plate, but came back and touched it. Here's the view from Holt at the other side of it. And Chris, at this time, it looked like the Reds are on the way to a lead and a victory. Not to be, as we're tied again, and we go to the 9th.
Well, a bullpen game right here, and the Pirates are going to bring in one of their hardest throwers of all, in Caminero. Bottom of the order for the Reds, and Caminero routinely hits triple digits.
Swing and a miss, strike 1 from Adam Duvall. Duvall, 3 fly balls, 2 to center and 1 to right. And I guess he's your new favorite name, right?
Archimedes?
Yeah.
The Ponderer.
Check swing fouled off, 0-2. already 13th game. This bullpen, which has been a strength of the Pirates the last couple of years, still trying to find its water level. They get Hughes back this weekend, and that'll help. Look out. Man, what a day for Duvall. He got his bell rung crashing into the wall and left, and almost got it rung again. Especially when you're dealing at 98, 99, 100. One ball, 2 strikes. Caminero delivers. That's bloop towards right. Sink in. It'll drop for a hit in front of the right fielder Polanco. So the Reds get the go-ahead run here on the 9th. By the way, we'd like to send a happy birthday wish out to Barry Cobb. Happy 80th, Barry, from Fairfield, Ohio. The Reds and Fox Sports Ohio would like to send you out birthday wishes. He worked for the Cincinnati Post for almost 40 years. Was the first ever Bengals beat writer for the newspaper. Has covered sports in the Queen City for a lot of years, and you deserve to celebrate today big time. And we know you're hopeful the Reds will celebrate with a W here in Pittsburgh. Happy birthday. Great era of writers in the Cincinnati area, Chris. Man. Here's Barnhart with the go-ahead run down at second. Tucker bounced out, doubled, and reached on an error. Barnhart started the Reds rally in the 6th when they were trailing 1-0. Shows bunt, takes the ball. Steps out, takes a look at Billy Hatcher, rolls through some signs in the third base box. Short lead for Duvall over at first. Caminero to the stretch. Who'll wait longer? That's like a Chris Welsh moment on the mound.
Well, you know, it does affect the hitter too. I mean, because he's the one who's in there ready for a 100-mile-an-hour fastball. And he's wondering, when is this guy going to throw it? When is he going to throw it? And eventually you have to call timeout to get your bearings back.
To the stretch again. Here's the 1-0. Shows bunt again and fouls it off.
Not an easy guy to bunt off of when you're dialing it up that fast.
Ball and a strike to the Reds catcher. 4 runs, 7 hits for the Pirates. 4 runs, 5 hits for the Reds. Reds have stranded 5, the Pirates 6. That's a strike, and it's 1-2. And he got him. Well, Barnhart's retired. Caminero strikeout number 1. And out number 1 here in the 9th.
He got him not with the heat, but with the off-speed pitch right there, and had Tucker way out in front. Interesting story on Caminero, really, because he was a guy that the Marlins signed when he was 19 years old. And he spent 9 years in the minor leagues and just never was able to get over the hump Did have a cup of coffee with the Marlins in 2013, but eventually was sold to the Pirates in exchange for some cash. Not much, just one of those deals where he needs a change of scenery. And now he's become one of the really the go-to setup guys for Clint Hurdle. No one ever doubted his arm. It was always a question as to whether he could control the strike zone at all.
Facing Scott Schebler here. Schebler entered in the double switch last inning. Strike one to the Reds left fielder. If you joined us late, two outstanding pitching performances. Tim Adleman, 28 years of age, making his major league debut, went 6+ innings, 3 hits, 2 runs allowed, 6 strikeouts and 2 walks. He left with a 3-1 lead. The Reds bullpen couldn't hold it for him. Jeff Locke, meanwhile, went 7 innings and exited after giving up the 2 runs to give the Reds the 3-1 lead. Ball and a strike. A little bigger lead for Duvall, and he'll hustle back to first. You say it so often when you don't have a good move to first, as you look at Ivan de Jesus Jr. in the on-deck circle. He came in for Kozar when he was injured. If you don't have a good move, Chris, just hold the ball, and that's what Caminero's developed. Hit pretty good left field. Marte on his horse, looking up, reaching up, won't get it. One hop off the wall.
Send him.
Around third, coming to the plate is Duvall. Here comes the relay throw. Won't be in time. He's safe. And the Reds have taken the lead again. This is a day when this team will not quit. They keep battling back and coming back. And Scott Schebler gets, for him, a much needed big hit. He bounces one over the head of the left fielder Marte, and the Reds have taken the lead again, 5-4.
It's a good pitch that he went down and got to. The Reds are expecting to see a whole lot more out of this, or like this, out of Scott Schebler. But Marte misses the cutoff man, and you see the backup cutoff man is the second baseman Harrison, and that's the reason why you have a safe call at the plate. All Marte had to do was to hit the shortstop, and it would have been a much closer play at the plate if Mercer was able to get that relay.
So now good speed at second in Schebler. Still only 1 out. And here's De Jesus for his first at bat. Great at bat by Schebler. Now let's see if the Reds can cash in another run here in the 9th. That's a strike. 0-2. We mentioned earlier in the series how the analytics here in Pittsburgh are so exacting, not just offensively, defensively, but positioning wise too. And in many cases this year, they pull their outfielders in a step or two, because after looking at all the numbers from last year, they found that, with the exception of the obvious no double situation, you'll make more plays a step or two in. And Marte was a step or two in on that play, and Schebler made him play. A little low. Go 2-2. Schebler turns around, checks where the outfielders are. With Schebler's speed, a base hit should score him. Caminero to the stretch. Hanging in there is Ivan de Jesus. Boy, this is when his dad was at his best, wasn't he, Chris? Senior.
He's a tough guy to get out.
Man, in these situations, he just wouldn't let you beat him. he'd find a way to get the bat on the ball, and Junior's trying to do the same thing here. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Dribbler down to short. They'll get the out at first. And going to third is Schebler. Well, he read that well with Mercer playing back, and the ball rolled toward short. The big lead that he had, he was able to get to third. So the runner at third, 2 outs, and in a game where there's been a lot of balls in the dirt, the Reds are hoping maybe another one can give the Reds an insurance run. And don't forget about the bunt again with Billy coming to the plate. Hamilton double, flied out. Reached on a force play. In fact, he thought he had a base hit to left, but with runners at first and second, Marte threw to third to force Barnhart before he got there, and then Billy sacrificed in the 8th. Didn't go 2-0. Rodriguez even with the bag at third. I mean, a lot of room on the right side if he drags a bunt up the first base line. Fouls it off, 2-1. Manero gave up a base hit to Duval and a double to Schebler, and the Reds have plated a run. Big guy to the stretch. Schebler off third. Look out. Hanging in there is Hamilton. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Trying to keep the line moving with Votto in the on deck circle. A looper, but right at the second baseman. Harrison has it, but the Reds get a run. Let's see if they can hold it. To the bottom of 9 we go in Pittsburgh. 5-4 Reds.
Reds Live postgame is brought to you by Performance Kings Honda. Expanded highlights you'll always hear from the manager before anyone else. Reds Live, the postgame edition. Let's cap off the top moments of April. Number 1. This was an easy choice. April 15th at St. Louis. Billy Hamilton to the wall and over, robbing Matt Carpenter of a home run. One of the best catches you'll ever see a center fielder make. Top moment of April, Mr. Billy Hamilton.
Hey, JD, we talk about Brandon Phillips all the time, and after that game you went down and talked to Billy, and he labels that as his best too, huh?
He indeed did. He actually hurt himself a little bit on that play, but back and good now. But yeah, that was his top play.
All right, let's see if the Reds can hammer this one down. Ross Ohlendorf will stay in the game. Ohlendorf, going to the bottom of 9, will face Chris Stewart, the catcher. In his career, he's got 1 save. That came with Texas last year. For a guy that's pitched over 500 innings and been in over 140 games. Started as a starter through most of his career early. And the Reds are hopeful, Chris, that a guy who's been solid for them early can give them only their 2nd save of the year.
Well, the Reds don't. That's exactly right. They've got 1 save through the first month of the season.
He would get the win in this one, not the save, but
is that right?
It's since he came in last inning, but it's.
I told you he was an action guy.
He is.
I mean, he's got 5 decisions in 10 innings. Make it 11 innings now.
In the dirt. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Tell you, you talk to the Pirates people here, though, in Pittsburgh, the guys who work around the stadium, the other broadcasters, the coaches who remember Ohlendorf, they love the guy. Yep. I mean, he is as solid as the day is long.
2 balls, 2 strikes. And we'll go full 3-2.
Don't want to walk that leading lady.
Five runs, 6 hits for the Reds, no errors. 4 runs, 7 hits, and 4 errors for the Pirates today. That's nubbed foul. Still available for Clint Hurdle on his bench. He's already used Matt Joyce, his lone left-handed pinch hitter. He has Francisco Cervelli, David Freese, and Jason Rogers still left on the bench. Three-two. In the air to left. Schebler back, looking up, and he holds on. A leaping effort by Schebler, one step from the warning track for the first out. Battling the sun, battling the curve of the ball. This is a nice play.
Well, it was a line drive right at him. The toughest time, the kind of fly ball to try to figure out. He went back some more, and realized he's going to have to leap up there. Had the glasses down. This is one of those fields, the way it is configured here at PNC Park. The left field becomes the sun field.
So there's out number 1.
And that way it's lined up almost identical to Great American Ballpark.
Well, here's Jason Rogers, who will come in to pinch hit. Righty-righty, no lefty-left for Clint Hurdle. Rogers had one appearance as a pinch hitter on the road trip and struck out in the 10th inning. Has split time with Jaso down at first. Missing inside. 1 ball and 1 strike. Rogers now 28 years of age. Last couple of years, of course, in Milwaukee. Acquired from Milwaukee during the winter meetings for outstanding young outfielder Keon Broxton. Bounced back and forth the last couple of years between AAA and the major leagues with the Brew Crew. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Popped him up, but it'll be out of play. Well, the Reds have had days where they have not played good baseball. They haven't pitched well. They haven't hit well. They've made some miscues. Today, they just did not quit, though. From one end of the roster to the other, everybody's chipped in and hopeful of picking up their 2nd road win of the year, leading at 5-4 here in the 9th. Swing and a miss, got him, and they'll tag him. Good job by Barnhart. 2nd out, and the Reds are 1 out away from hammering down a win in Pittsburgh. Well, here comes Jaso, the first baseman today. The Reds have kept him off the bases. A fly ball out, a ground out, a fly ball to center, and a strikeout. Big windup from Ohlendorf. That's wide for a ball. Rocket to right, going back, looking up. Will it go high enough? Oh, no, it's gone. About a foot over the 21-foot wall in right field. And we are tied again. Well, our Volkswagen drive of the game. Jaso does it again, Chris. He hammers this.
Well, that was a hammer spot to lay that baby. Oh.
The only question was it high enough? It was hit hard, but at first it looked like it was heading for the wall and would stay in the park, but it just kept sailing.
So Jaso in this series has been good at the beginning and the end.
Yeah.
He started the Pirates' first inning off against Alfredo Simon yesterday with a first pitch home run, and he was the last batter of the game if he would have been retired, and he hits a home run again.
And there's Duval putting the glove on this right in front of the wall. But we're going to go extras in the Steel Town City. Tied at 5 going to the 10th at Pittsburgh. Of 28,755 at PNC Park. I've watched this game go seesaw back and forth. We go to the 10th tied at 5, and Reds aren't used to it, Chris, but sure the Pirates are used to it. Average length of game this year, almost 3.5 hours for the Pirates. I mean, that includes those 2 long games, one in Arizona, one in Colorado on the road trip, and another 9-inning game that went almost 3 hours and 20 minutes as well. So we're in for an extra inning affair here in Pittsburgh today. If you joined us late, a brief recap. Tim Adleman pitched great in his major league debut. The 28-year-old went 6+ innings, 3 hits, had allowed 1 run when he left, but left a runner stranded. Struck out 6, walked 2. Bullpen couldn't hold it. 2 runs scored. So instead of a 3-1 lead that he had at that time, it wound up a 3-3 tie. Jeff Locke pitched 7 strong innings for the Reds. Offensively, Zach Cozart had a big double, but left the game tweaking his injured right leg. We're not sure exactly where the injury was, as Joey Votto bounces out for the first out of the 10th inning. Votto, in the 6th inning, when the Reds scored 3 times to take a 3-1 lead, singled in the first run. In that inning also, Jay Bruce doubled in 2 runs. Late inning heroics for the Reds. Scott Schebler's double over the head of Marte in the 9th gave the Reds a 5-4 lead, but the Pirates bounce back again on big hits from pinch hitter Matt Joyce, tying the game in the 7th, and then tying the game in the 9th on a base hit by Marte, and then tying the game in the bottom of the 9th on the home run by Jaso. So here's Brandon Phillips. Flied out, bounced out, intentionally walked, and popped up. Votto today, in addition to that run scoring base hit in the 6th, was intentionally walked and struck out twice. Ryan Vogelsong, veteran right-hander, on the mound for the Buccos here in the 10th. Missing down and away, 3-1. Reds trying to get the potential go-ahead run on base here in inning number 10. That's a call strike. So we'll go 3-2. Phillips hitting in the 4th spot, and the double switch. The pitcher came in Jay Bruce's spot, the 5th spot. So Ohlendorf spots due up next. Jordan Pacheco has moved into the on-deck circle. Pacheco and Mesoraco are the only 2 position players left for the Reds. Down to third. That'll be foul. Vogelsong into his windup. Here's the 3-2 to Phillips. Down the right field line. That'll curve foul and go out of play as well. Turned out to be a fairly pleasant day here in Pittsburgh. Last 2 days rainy and overcast. The rain continued right up until just before game time today. Clouds have parted, sunshine's peeking through. They had the Pittsburgh Marathon earlier today in downtown Pittsburgh. Over 4,500 runners participating in that. And they had a mini marathon yesterday as well. 3-2. Down to short. Mercer to Jaso. 2 away. And they pull Pacheco back, and here comes Brandon Finnegan, who will be called on to pinch hit. So Brandon, who's swung the bat well in his indoctrination here in the National League this year, he's helped himself offensively. Got a chance to swing the bat here in the 10th. Bounce behind second. Harrison has it, and they'll get the out. 3 ground balls from Vogelsong here in the 10th. Bottom of 10 we go. Tied at 5. The Golf Zone PGA Pro Jimmy Hanlon demonstrates terrific tips to improve your game and talks about this weekend's tournament. Get inside the Golf Zone with Jimmy Hanlon tonight at 8 on Fox Sports Ohio. Here's Blake Wood, who'll take over as we go to the bottom of 10. He'll face Cincinnati native Josh Harrison, Marte, and then Polanco due up. Harrison today came in with a 9-game hitting streak. Flied out to center, struck out, flied to right, and retired on a nice play by Cozart in the 8th inning. And if you joined us late, Zach Cozart exited the game after tweaking his previously injured right knee. We're not sure exactly the extent of the injury. As soon as we know anything, we'll pass it on to you. Hugging the line at third is Eugenio Suarez. Ivan De Jesus Jr. at short. Phillips at second, and Votto down at first. In the left is Schebler, center Billy Hamilton, and Duvall is over on right. Jay Bruce double switched out of the game in right field. Looped into right. Long run. Is anybody going to get there? No. Phillips got the closest to it, but playing relatively deep, Duvall never got close to it. And the leadoff hitter's on in the 10th.
Well, relatively deep, because in this situation you're really in prevent doubles defense. You don't want to have the the Pirates put a runner in scoring position right off the bat. So a little looper right there, which would normally be caught, falls in there for a base hit.
Well, the guy who's been the spark plug for this offense the better part of the last 3 years leads off on base in the 10th. That stretches his hitting streak to 10 straight. And here comes Marte. Blake Wood to the stretch.
Now, even though Clint Hurdle and the Pirates have really embraced baseball metrics and saber metrics and so on, they still like the bunt an awful lot. And I'm wondering if they may just have Marte bunt sometime in this at bat, move that runner up.
Josh Harrison has stolen 4 bases, hasn't been caught.
I don't see them trying to push the steal right here. You run yourself right out of a game-winning situation.
Strike 1 to Marte. Marte 2 for 4 today. Hit one to the warning track at right center field.
I remember when they used to keep that stat.
Yeah, and boy, did he kill the Reds a couple of times last year, didn't he? Twice. 2 of those were game-winning hits against the Reds. Center field, Billy right there makes the play. Hit right on the button by Marte, but Hamilton in the right spot, 1 away.
Goes to show you, you know, baseball's a funny game. Harrison dumps one off the end of the bat and gets a base hit off of it. And Marte stings it, I mean, right on the button, couldn't hit it harder, and it's an out.
So 1 out, 1 on, and here comes Polanco. He hit one to right center that dropped on the warning track. Billy Hamilton picked it up on 1 hop and threw Polanco out, trying to stretch a single into a double. Polanco then homered to lead off the 5th. That gave the Pirates a 1-0 lead. The first run scored off Tim Adleman. Struck out in the 7th and intentionally walked in the 8th. Wood to the stretch. There goes Harrison. Here comes the throw. He's going to get the bag stolen.
Boy, did he have a big jump off of Blake Wood. It was almost like Wood, when he first gave up the base hit to Josh Harrison, paid a lot of attention to him. Flew over there a couple of times and so on. And then on the very first pitch of the new batter, hardly looked over there. It was a good pitch to handle by Barnhart, but even a throw on the money didn't get him.
Now the Joe Morgan adage, it's not how many bases you steal, it's when you steal, and this is a big base for number 5. His 5th stolen base of the season, and they will walk Polanco intentionally, set up a possible double play, and deal with Sean Rodriguez. But the potential winning run now sitting out at second. So second time they've walked Polanco intentionally. It worked last time in the 8th inning after Marte singled in the tying run 4-4. They intentionally walked Polanco, and Ohlendorf struck out Sean Rodriguez to end the inning and got Mercer to bounce out. Now the 2 guys that have provided jolts off the bench for the Pirates all year are Rodriguez and Joyce. Joyce, not just home runs, he has 1 in this series, but also big hits. Rodriguez had a tape measure home run out in Arizona, and a home run yesterday against the Reds. 2 on, 1 out. Reds hoping for 2 middle of the infield. Phillips trying to keep Harrison as close as he can at second. Oh, it opens up a little room on that right side of the infield. Outfield straight away in all 3 positions. Right down the middle for a strike. 1-1. Schebler in left, Hamilton in center, Duvall in right in this outfield configuration. With Harrison's speed and base running ability, a base hit have to be a perfect throw to get him at the plate. Make that strike 2. Wood peers in for his sign. Harrison off second. Did he go? Yes, he did. Great spot, great pitch. And there's out number 2.
I thought maybe the pitch had the plate. I don't think it was a matter of him swinging at it or not, although he may have been called on that. I think he called it on the pitch.
Watch out for the water cooler in there. One out away from getting out of this jam, and they'll have to get through Mercer. Jordy bounced out in the 8th to end the Pirates rally there. Swing and a miss for strike 1. Mercer today popped up, flied out, walked, and bounced out.
That is one hard slider that Blake Wood dials up there. That last one at 92 had very sharp break. With the 2 swings that he's gotten from Mercer on that pitch, why change to something else? Just expand the zone, give him a little something just off the plate, and he'll chase.
The exact
Or he should have chased.
He held. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Harrison, a little bit bigger lead off second. Still trying to get him to go fishing for it. Won't bite. And we're even, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Here's when you want your decision pitch, right, Chris?
Well, you certainly don't want to go 3-2.
Barnhart rolls through his signs. Harrison off second. Got him. Another key at bat. Wood gets the strikeout. Back-to-back Ks here in the 10th. Going to the 11th. Suarez will lead it off, tied at 5. In town for this 3-game weekend series. Cincinnati lost the first 2 and tried to take home a win here in game number 3 with a lead going into the 9th, but a home run from John Jaso tied the game at 5. So we're playing extras at PNC Park. We're going to the 11th. Eugenio Suarez, Duvall, and Barnhart due up 6, 7, and 8 for Cincinnati.
Reds really don't have much left on the bench at all. Jordan Pacheco has not played. Devin Mesoraco, but we've already seen Brandon Finnegan pinch hit. So I would imagine that maybe Mesoraco's not available.
Here's Suarez. Eugenio today bumped down to the number 6 spot in the order. 3 ground ball outs to the middle of the infield and a roller down to third. They overshift to the left side against him. Ryan Vogelsong's second inning of work. Had a 1-2-3-10, 3 ground balls. That's what you expect from the big right-hander. Fouled at the plate. Suarez has matched up against Vogelsong once. He's 0 for 1 against him. Rip to left. Marte coming over. Can't get it. It's going to get by him. Suarez around first, heading to second. He'll get at least 3 out of this one. Billy Hatcher holding and watching, and they'll put him down there at third. So a leadoff triple from Eugenio Suarez. The Reds have the go-ahead run, sitting at third with nobody out in the 11th.
That's the way to make something out of a long day at the plate. 0 for 4 coming into this AB. Suarez hits it hard. And this is one of those plays where when you're in extra innings, you got to think as an outfielder, is it worth the risk of trying to dive for this ball, or can I back up and just play this into a single? And I think that was another attempt by Marte of being a hero on a play where if it backfires on you, now the go-ahead run in extra innings is on third base. Bad defensive play.
Well, he's burned the Reds with great catches in left, both at Great American Ballpark and here late in games. One of them a great game-saving catch at the end of a game in Cincinnati. But here
he's already missed a cutoff man once and caused a run to score. I mean, I can't say caused a run to score, but certainly was an accomplice in that.
The Pirates will bring the infield into the edge of the grass for Adam Duvall. Duvall, a single and 3 fly balls. A fly ball here would get the go-ahead run in. Vogelsong to the stretch. Here's strike 1. Breaking ball misses wide. In the dirt, smothered by the catcher Chris Stewart. When these two teams get together, anything can happen. From long games to hit batsmen to walk-off wins. High in the air, back into short left, tagging at third.
Not this time.
Not against that arm. Suarez will hold tight at third, and there's out number 1.
Well, you got to hit it more than 150 feet.
Yeah. Pirates and Reds played 3 extra inning games last year, and ironically all of them wound up being walk-offs. The Reds that first week of April had the 5-4 win in 11. The Reds won 5-4 on the last week of June, and then in the final series of the season the Pirates run 6-4 and 12 on the 2nd of October. Still edge of the grass, the Buccos infield. Here's Barnhart. Barnhart bounced out, doubled, reached on an error, and struck out. Missing wide. Vogelsong to the stretch. Barnhart digs in. That's inside for a ball. 2-0. Barnhart 1 for 2 in his at-bats against Vogelsong in their matchups. And a little bit wide again, so it's 3-0.
I'm green lighting him right here.
The way he's swinging the bat, why not?
And he gets a breaking ball on a 3-0 count. So the Pirates believe he was green lighted as well. So now it changes things for the Pirates. They had their infield in to cut the run off at the plate. Now they send the Keystone duo, second and short, back for a double play depth.
Well, here comes Schebler. Schebler in the 9th gave the Reds a lead with a double over the head of Marte. Made it 5-4 Cincinnati, a lead they relinquished in the bottom of the 9th. Facing Vogelsong for the first time, he digs in. Middle of the infield double play. First baseman Jaso holding the runner. Big lead for Suarez down at third. As they pulled the third baseman Rodriguez wide of the bag. So some holes in this infield for Schebler.
Well, this allows this runner to come all the way down here. As far as that third baseman is off the bag, you can get that lead to third base. So if a ball just squirts away by 5 or 6 feet, if you're awake, you can chance a score on that.
And now it's 2-0. No action in the Bucco bullpen right now.
Well, Vogelsong really fits the description nowadays at this stage in his career of more of a long reliever than a guy that would come in short stints. This is where you need a strikeout pitcher, and he's not that anymore.
Rip to right. Polanco back, looking up. He can't get it. 1 run's going to score. Rounding second, going to third is Barnhart. He'll hold there. It's another double for Schebler. How about Schebler? 2 doubles, 1 in the 9th, 1 in the 11th. He's given the Reds a lead twice in this ball game. Man, for a guy who has struggled at the plate, Chris, that had to feel so good.
Well, you've got to just keep grinding it out because you never know when that worm will turn. And Schebler puts another good swing on a pitch that's low and outside. That was the same spot that he hit the other pitch for a double.
So second and third, still only 1 out. Back to the top of the order. It's Ivan De Jesus Jr. in the spot previously occupied by Cozart. He bounced to short first time up. That's a strike. And they'll bring the infield back in to the edge of the grass. Barnhart off third, Schebler off second. And with this infield defense, Schebler can get a big lead at second. Here's a shot to right. Here comes Polanco. Barnhart had gone back, and he'll hold right there.
Oh, well, look at this.
Look, oh, and they've got the runner caught between second and third. Barnhart trying to go to the plate. The throw to the plate will be in time. They'll nail him, and that'll end the inning. Base running mistake on the back end of that by Schebler. Barnhart had gone back to tag up. No, we'll see it again when we return. But Schebler gives the Reds a 6-5 lead. Tonight, a double plated the go-ahead run in the 9th to give the Reds a 5-4 lead, and here in the 11th, his double gave the Reds a 6-5 lead. But here, on Polanco's throw to the plate, it's cut by the first baseman Jaso, and with Barnhart going back to tag up at third, Schebler gets caught between second and third. They throw to the plate, get Barnhart tagged out. That's a double play that ends the inning. No base running mistake by the Reds, but they've gotten the lead. The question is, will one hold up here in the bottom of 11? Here's the number 8 hitter, Chris Stewart. Stewart struck out, walked, popped up, and lined to left. Down to short. Big high hop to De Jesus, and there's one away. David Freese will come in and pinch up. Available on the bench for the Buccos. Cervelli and Freese, they're the last 2 left. So Freese will come in to pinch hit with 1 out here in the 11th, in the spot where Vogelsong is listed. And you know Freese's story. Always been tough on the Reds, a career 300 hitter against Cincinnati. And in his years with the Cardinals, a hero time and time again. In 2011, the National League and World Series MVP, and part of their effort in 2013. Great play by Suarez, and he got him. Diving stop by Eugenio Suarez, who's guiding the line to start with, but even with the line spot about 3 feet away. He hammers this one down in the hole, Chris, and makes a great play.
You don't know what's going to happen after this if this ball does not get cut off for an out. If that ball goes into the outfield for a base hit, who knows? But that is some nifty defense by Eugenio Suarez.
Blake Wood says thank you very much. So back to the top of the order, and oh, by the way, it's John Jaso, who homered in the 9th with 2 outs to tie the game at 5. Barnhart went out and patted Wood on the back. Just, I'm sure there was a word to remind them, keep it away from this guy. 2 homers by Jaso, both against the Reds. Backhanded by Phillips over to Votto. How about that? The Reds won't quit on this day. They salvage the final game of the series. Wood gets the win. Brandon Phillips wraps things up with that play, and the Reds have won their 2nd road game of the year. A smiling scoreboard, Chris, on a day when they just wouldn't quit.
Well, you know what? This is a feel-good win for the Reds. Every one of these wins for the Reds nowadays is a feel-good win, but there are a lot of people involved in this. It goes extra innings. Who cares? I was happy the way that Tim Adleman started and pitched very well in this ball game, and happy the way the Reds just kept getting after it and after it right down to the very end.
It's been a while since JD's had a smiling scoreboard interview afterwards. He's going to have one for us. And here, Brian Price can take a big deep breath. The Reds will head to the airport, salvaging the final game of the road trip, and head home to take on the Giants. More to talk about coming up next on Fox Sports Ohio. It's Reds Live postgame, sponsored by Kings Honda.